Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, the Red Sox 11-game road trip comes to an end. The Sox are 5-5, hoping to return to Boston with a winning West Coast swing. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dodger Stadium. Great to have you with us. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner, Steve Lyons. Garen Austin will be joining us in just a couple of moments. And, Steve, it's the third start on this road swing for David Price. He's had some excellent stretches, but has yet to put one into the win column, and today's his last opportunity.
Yeah, he's got to be thinking, what do I have to do to get a win on this road trip? It would be great for him to come through on the final game of this road trip. He pitched well against the Angels, and he was did in on that game by an error late in the ballgame. And then against Seattle, he pitched very, very well until he lost a little bit of command late in that ball game. Neither one of those games went his way. But as you said, he's got another opportunity. He's had a chance to make a start in all three cities. Hopefully today's the day.
So today, the last day of the road trip. This is the last season in the broadcast booth for the legendary voice of the Dodgers, Vin Scully. I had an opportunity to visit with Vin yesterday. We'll share part of that interview when we come back just before game time. Game 3, the Red Sox and the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium, right around the corner. To you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. The 2017 Kia Sportage, visit anykiadealers.com to learn more. Digital Federal Credit Union, see what DCU can save you. Subaru Retailers of New England. By Sullivan Tire and Complete Auto Service. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. Well, the great Vin Scully is calling it a career after 67 years in the Dodger broadcasting booth. That goes all the way back to his days with the Brooklyn Dodgers. I had a chance to catch up with him yesterday in his booth. Obviously, everyone knows around the country, around the world, that this is your final season, 67 years, just an incredible achievement. But how much thought have you given to the final broadcast, the final time you'll be at the microphone for the Dodgers, and what you're going to say?
I haven't given it a thought. I swear to you, Dave, I have not. I'm just going every day, doing the ball game, and happy to do it. I don't think it's going to be very dramatic. I've told this story enough times, but it will be poignant for me in this respect. In 1936, I was 8.5, almost 9, walking home from school. The World Series was on, and I went by a Chinese restaurant, and there was a line score in the window. And the line score had the Yankees beating the Giants 18-4. And as a little boy, I looked at that, and my first thought was, oh, those poor Giants. So from that moment, I became a rabid Giants fan. Polo Grounds, 20 blocks from my school, and because of the PAL and the CYO, I could go to games free Monday through Friday. Okay, so I become a rabid Giants fan as a little boy. The last game that I will do will be October the 2nd, 2016. That will be exactly 80 years to the day from that little kid who became a Giants fan, and a baseball fan. Remarkable.
What are the chances?
Yeah, right. Amazing.
Just incredible. All I can say is, in parting, that Red Sox fans from afar have worshipped you as well as Dodger fans here on the West Coast and fans all through the country. It's impossible to think of Major League Baseball without the sound of your voice in summertime.
Well, that's nice to say, but I've lived through a lot of great departures. I mean, I watched Red Barber leave Brooklyn, and they kept playing. Mel Allen leave the Yankees, they kept playing. Jack Buck and the Cardinals, they kept playing. Harry Carey with the Cubs, they kept playing. They all keep playing. Kurt Gowdy in Boston. I mean, who would have thought there would ever be a game without Kurt? But I'll be gone, and for about a year, it won't be quite. It's like a new pair of shoes when they switch announcers. But after a year or so, okay, yeah, I remember him. He used to be Vin Scully.
He used to be Vin Scully. He is something else. One of the most modest men you're ever going to have the privilege to meet. Red Sox taking on the Dodgers here in Game 3 in a moment. It's transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Plainridge Park Casino, the official sponsor of winning. And by Sleep Number, no better sleep, only at a Sleep Number store. Beautiful Dodger Stadium, Game 3, Red Sox and the Dodgers. Time for a look at the Dodgers starting line. The Red Sox starting lineup first be brought to you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. It'll be Mookie Betts to lead it off in right. Then Jackie Bradley and Xander Bogaerts, Dustin Pedroia at second base, Travis Shaw at first, Brock Holt at third, and a brand new guy, Brian Holiday, doing the catching out of the 7th spot, Andrew Benintendi in left, and David Price, the number 9 batter, he is doing the pitching. The Dodgers starter brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Brandon McCarthy, he is 2-2, a 2.16 ERA, and the Dodgers have gone from announcing him at about 2 or 3 days ago to scratching him and then bringing him back after Rich Hill couldn't go because of a blister.
All right, let's move on to the Dodger defense now, brought to you by DraftKings. Around the infield, Turner is at third base. Seager, a good-looking shortstop, playing there today again. Howie Kendrick at second. Adrian Gonzalez over there at first base. In left, making his Major League debut, Seguin. Hernandez in center once again today, and Josh Reddick out in right field. There's your battery right there. Randall and McCarthy.
Here are the umpires, brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Gary Cederstrom behind the plate, Eric Cooper at first, Jim Wolf and Chad Whitson at second and third. And we're available. This telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP is presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-back Toyota Certified used vehicle right now. It's another picture-perfect day for a ball game. 77 degrees and sunny here in Los Angeles. At the moment, a fairly small crowd for the finale as the Red Sox try to get out of here with a series victory. Heading back to Fenway at last on Tuesday.
It's been a long one.
Going to go back to the Eastern time zone finally. Mookie Betts to lead things off, hitting .310, 23 homers. He's driven in 73. And a little bit of a delay at the outset here. Mookie's been pointing out down the left field line. And whatever was bothering him seems to have disappeared. So we are set for the first pitch. McCarthy, 32 years old. He delivers ball one. He is replacing Rich Hill, who scratched because of that blister issue. The Dodgers have put 12 pitchers on the disabled list this season, including Clayton Kershaw, as that one skips away.
I had a chance to talk with Clayton earlier today, and he's certainly disappointed. He says, hey, I'm doing everything I can to get back, but it's a back issue, and sometimes you just don't know how long that's going to be.
Rich a little disappointed as well that he couldn't go against the Sox today because of that recurring blister, and that one's going to be downstairs on Mookie Betts to make the count 3-0. Mookie, one of the few Red Sox who have had a good trip with the bat. He's hit safely in 8 in a row, 14 for 35, and hitting for power. And that'll be inside for ball 4. Nothing really close there from McCarthy.
No. Mookie Betts one of those guys that says, hey, I don't walk very often. Number one, I'm pretty aggressive at the plate. Number two, you don't want to walk me. You want to throw strikes. You don't want to have that leadoff guy on base. There he is.
With 17 stolen bases. Quick chat there from Grandal, the catcher, and brings up Jackie Bradley, who's batting out of the 2 spot. Dustin Pedroia hitting 4th. David Ortiz out of the lineup. Hanley Ramirez, that wrist is still sore. The one that he injured tumbling down the dugout steps in Seattle. He's gotten into the lineup and now he's out again. So it's a different look to this lineup. There he goes. The runner immediately on the run and nearly slid by, but he's just able to hold it with that foot. Number 18 for Mookie Betts.
I often don't understand why guys slide past the bag, but I'm even more surprised at how they have the ability to hang on to that base somehow. Mookie's going to do it with his little toe. Oh, get back. That's amazing.
So Jackie Bradley with an early RBI chance here, hitting .289 with 17 home runs. It's a high fly ball, pretty well hit into left center, but playable. And Hernandez will make the catch, and Mookie's not going anywhere as the throw comes into third base. Got a quiet trip for Jackie, 6 for 37. He's only driven in 1 run on this trip.
Has had some opportunities, just as he had one right there today, but unable to get it done.
Xander Bogaerts, another slumping Red Sox hitter. .319, 14 homers, 67 RBIs, but 9 for 43 on the trip. That's .209. Red Sox have pitched really well here on the West Coast for the most part. Gotten a lot of good starts, but the offense has not come along, at least not yet. This is the last chance today, and that'll be in there for a strike.
Thought you might see a turnaround in Friday night's game when they scored 9 runs in that one. Got a great pitching performance from Stephen Wright, scored 9 runs. Everything was looking good, and yesterday was just kind of a stinker.
It really was. Nothing happened. What happened there? McCarthy fires that one to the backstop. That was into another area code from home plate.
Now, Dave, that's not even close. If there was a left-handed hitter up, it would have gone behind him.
That was bizarre.
Watch this.
So tell me what happened there.
It hung onto the ball a little bit too long. He was kind of trying to crossfire his delivery, but goodness, I mean, that's hard to do. It's hard to miss that bad.
So big league wild pitch. And a runner down to third base, Mookie Betts. Red Sox trying to get on top right away here in Los Angeles. Xander Bogaerts looking for his 68th RBI. For a moment there, Grandal couldn't find it. Finally locates the baseball. Xander on a trip with just 4 RBIs. He has hit 2 home runs. All it takes here is a fly ball of decent depth, and the Red Sox have the lead.
Well, that's one thing the Red Sox hitters have been doing quite a bit of on this trip, is hitting fly balls.
Pedroia on deck in the 2-1. Shot into left center field. There's Hernandez to line it up. He'll make the play. Slipped a little bit. Tagging up Mookie Betts. He is in to score, and the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. 68 RBIs for Xander Bogaerts. So that walk right away, and then the stolen base comes back to hurt the right-hander for the Dodgers.
And that's great that Mookie was running early in this game. He hasn't run a whole lot. Now he's on third base just waiting to score. Xander gets that ball into the outfield just enough. Mookie kind of deacon like he might not go. Everyone in the house knows he's going to go. Kike Hernandez made the effort, but that's a long way to try to get Betts from there.
Sends up Dustin Pedroia, 298, 12 homers, 46 RBIs. He has been up 14 times against McCarthy, has 5 hits. Dustin missing yesterday's game after that foul ball on Friday off his left shin. Red Sox did take an X-ray, came up negative. He's still sore, but he got back in there today. Travis Shaw on deck. Pedroia loves the interleague games. There's another one off the glove of Grandal. Not even close.
We've showed you this little bit of video way more times than anyone. Want to keep watching it because it hurts so bad. That foul ball right off the upper ankle.
The 1-2. He got jammed, and he bloops that one foul back into the stands.
Talked to Petey today about that. He said it just hit all bone. There's nothing else down there. Stung a little.
We talked about this. He's a .335 career hitter in interleague games. Only Piazza was better. He's hitting .326 this year against the National League. What is going on with Brandon McCarthy here? These are a couple of the ugliest pitches we have seen all season long.
Watch his front plant foot this time. He was kind of taking a look at the dirt after he threw this pitch, like he strided too short or too long. It looks completely normal to me right there. He's looking down at it like, what am I doing?
Second time he's done that. 2-2 breaking ball as Luke foul out of play. Sox are 5-5 on this road trip. And when they left for Anaheim on July 27th, they were 2.5 games out of first place. So with a win today, they will have gained half a game on this 11-game trip. Sucked into left center field. That one a deep drive heading back toward his Seguin, and the youngster making his major league debut will run that down to retire the side. But the Red Sox are on the board. A 1-0 lead here in the first inning at Dodger Stadium. Your lineup brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. Howie Kendrick about to lead things off. Corey Seager after him. Then Turner, Gonzalez, and Hernandez. Josh Reddick in right field. Grandal the catcher. Seguin in left field in his major league debut. And McCarthy is the pitcher and number 9 hitter. Facing the left-hander David Price, who is 9-7. ERA at 4.30. And his first offering of the day to Kendrick is popped up into right field. Pedroia out, Betts coming in, and Mookie wants it. And that's a fast out on one pitch. Red Sox starting pitcher presented by New England Audi dealers. On the trip, 2 starts. Price has 2 no decisions, but he could easily be 2-0. He had game 1 in Anaheim that started the 11-game trip, and he was excellent, shutting out the Angels over 8 innings, 7 hits, 1 walk, struck out 6. He had a 1-0 lead when he came out, and the game was lost on the throwing mistake in the 9th inning. It scored 2 runs. Here's Seager, 303 with 19 home runs, having an outstanding rookie campaign. He'll be followed by Justin Turner. So here's where they bring you good power. Bogart's down for it. Airborne throws and scooped up at first by Shaw. An outstanding play by Xander Bogaerts and Travis Shaw.
Excellent defense on both ends. I didn't think Xander was going to get to that. And then you still have to make the throw very quickly. Got some air under it. Let it bounce over there. He knows Shaw is going to pick it for him. Let's check out the rest of the defense, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. For the Red Sox, all right, around the infield. Brock Holt at third base today. Bogarts at short. Pedroia and Shaw on the right side. Out there in the outfield, Benintendi in left. Bradley Jr. in center. Mookie Betts in right. Price and Holiday. Holiday making his Red Sox debut.
Just claimed off waivers from Texas, and that's in there for a called strike. He also played for the Detroit Tigers. So he played for Dave Dombrowski, who knows him very well. Turner hitting .275, 19 homers, 64 RBIs. And swings hard. He checks, and that'll miss for a ball.
A lot of people might think it's a little crazy to throw Holiday back there to catch Price if they've never done it before, but they have. He caught Price when he was with Detroit.
Turner's hit safely in 12 of his last 14 at .339, so he's one of the hotter bats for Los Angeles. The other night for David Price in Seattle, he was outstanding through 7 shutout innings. He had a 4-0 lead. Wound up not getting the win in that one. Bogarts will get that and throw him out. And it's a good start for Price. 1-2-3 go the Dodgers. 1-0 Boston after 1.
All right, fans.
The Sox have the lead 1-0, and Brandon McCarthy, to really put a little mild spin on it, took a walk on the wild side.
My goodness, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen one pitch like that, let alone three. Wow. He is a real long strider out there. He's a long, lanky guy, but he looked like he was having issues with where he wanted to land.
Man, I'll say. In there for a strike on Travis Shaw. Brock Holt and Brian Holiday will follow. He'll get his first at bat with the Red Sox. Holiday doing the catching today. Travis 257 coming in. 14 home runs. Hit a bullet here down the right field line a couple of days ago. He knocked it right into the bullpen for number 14. And the 0-2 pitch from McCarthy. Ooh. Man, this is just strange.
Shaw might have thought he was throwing at him if he hadn't watched him do that 3 times already. Nobody seems too worried about it, and McCarthy doesn't seem like he sort of acts like it happens to him all the time.
I think the Red Sox may be a little worried about it. Top foul.
When you're a hitter, you want the pitcher to know where it's going. You really do. That's when they're talking about, you know, can a pitcher use any foreign substance or a little bit of pine tar? A lot of hitters would say, yes, I want him to have a good grip on the ball. I want him to know where he's throwing it.
Rick Honeycutt, their pitching coach, popped into left field, charging on Seguin. He's been busy already in his big league debut. 1 man out in front of Brock Holt. The Red Sox end of summer family pack is back this year from August 26th through the 31st. Special ticket offer. You get free parking, the Duck Tour ride to and from the park, and a free hot dog and soda. That is courtesy of Aramark. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/family pack.
I thought you and I renamed that family pack to Summer Still Here.
We did.
Yeah, they didn't go for it.
Has yet to meet with the proper approval. Brock Holt 257 with 5 home runs. He did go 1 for 4 yesterday in the Red Sox loss, which was 3-0. The offense just shut down. Hard to believe it was the same Red Sox team that scored 9 the night before.
You know, no disrespect to Stripling, but he was a guy who didn't come in with great numbers, wasn't going to go deep in the ball game. Seemed like a perfect opportunity for the Red Sox to beat him up.
Well, the Red Sox got in about 4:30, 5 o'clock on the day that they went out 1-9-0. It oftentimes catches up to you, 24 hours later, doesn't it?
We've talked about that a few times on this trip because we've had a few of those, and we knew we were playing a Seattle team that had a bad trip like that.
Brock Holt takes ball 4, second walk issued by McCarthy. And here comes Brian Holiday, who was claimed off the waiver wire on Friday from Texas. 28-year-old right-handed hitter. Did play for the Tigers previously. He's from Dallas, Texas. And a former college star at TCU, where in 2009 he was one of just 4 players to hit a home run off of Steven Strasburg. Now, if you missed the major news in baseball, Alex Rodriguez, as of next Friday, will be done as a major leaguer. A-Rod is hanging him up. He's had a dreadful season where he's hardly played. He is going to make one last trip to Fenway Park beginning on Tuesday. Those 3 games as the Yankees come into Boston.
Does he think he's going to get a nice send-off from the Fenway faithful?
Can't believe that. If he does, he's going to be wrong about that. Hard ground ball to third, up with it Turner. In the second one, they turn the double play, 5-4-3. And that'll do it for the Red Sox here in inning number 2. Still 1-0 Boston at Dodger Stadium. Brought to you by T-Mobile. We're talking about A-Rod hanging him up. 22-year career. Some of those numbers off the charts. Obviously, long ago admitted he had used performance-enhancing drugs to ring up some of those numbers. 696 home runs.
The numbers by themselves are staggering.
Here's Gonzalez, Adrian Gonzalez to lead it off in the second inning. Red Sox ahead 1-0 with David Price on the bump today. Gonzalez just 3 for 21 against Price lifetime, so no day at the beach facing the lefty for him. And a 1-0. One ball and one strike. Hernandez on deck, and then Josh Reddick. Price looking for his 10th win of the season. He's made just one career start against the Dodgers. That was in 2013. Allowed 1 run over 7 innings, 7 hits. And a 1-2 pitch from Price. Line into left center. Jackie Bradley coming in. He'll make the play. So 1 man gone. Just been strange watching McCarthy, the Dodgers starter, spray it all over the place. Nowhere near home plate. This was the conversation. Dave Roberts, the manager, and Honeycutt, the pitching coach, in between innings.
He really is talking about his stride and his landing point. You have the manager and the pitching coach over there talking to you. You know you're having some issues mechanically. Trying to figure it out now.
Ugly start. Red Sox with a 1-0 lead. Kike Hernandez, the center fielder, climbs in. Hitting just .203 with 5 home runs. This is not a Dodger team offensively that should frighten anyone.
Some guys who can pitch around in this lineup, go after some others.
And that's what a pitcher will tell you before every start. Well, I'm looking for my outs. Where are my outs in this lineup? Who might I pitch around if I have to? And there are plenty of them in this lineup that you do not have to avoid. They've got a youngster making his major league debut in Rob Segedin. McCarthy, the pitcher. Hernandez, a .203 hitter. Grandal, .227. One-two, slice foul back to the screen. Their best hitter, I think you'd have to say, is either Turner or Seager, and Seager's a rookie.
Yeah, and Jock Peterson's out of the lineup today. So you look at really the core of their order. Only 2 of those guys are playing today. Dodgers
Right around 9th in the National League in runs scored. And moves off the plate at 89, and the count 2-2.
Talk about Seager being a rookie too. He's breaking every record in the books for the Dodgers for rookies. A tremendous season he's having. 19 homers, 52 RBIs.
2-2 to Hernandez. He would not chase it. Baltimore won again. We seem to say that every day. They beat the White Sox 10-2, but Toronto lost and the Tigers lost. We keep mentioning Detroit because they had overtaken the Red Sox for the wild card spot. That is going to be inside and down low, and he walks him. So Hernandez is on. First ball 4 by Price with 1 out here in the second. Time for our twisted but true fact. Today, Manny Machado hit a home run in each of the first 3 innings of the Orioles game against the White Sox. He became the first player to do it since Carl Reynolds in 1930. Twisted tea, the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. First base runner is Hernandez for the Dodgers today. And here's Josh Reddick. 0 for 6 lifetime against David Price.
It's a pretty good week of home runs after 3 innings for Machado. Goodness.
And Baltimore won big. Reddick, after an 0 for 15 start to his Dodger career after the trade from Oakland, finally got his first hit for Los Angeles yesterday. He celebrated like he had belted a home run in the 9th inning. Got fooled there. The count's 1-1.
You know, in players' mind, I mean, I think everyone knows the quality of player that Josh Reddick is, but when you come to a new ball club, you want to get off to a good start. They've watched you play from afar. Now you're playing for them. I want to see you get some hits.
He's had a subpar year to this point. 282, 8 homers, 28 runs batted in. Some Sox fans may be aware of the story of his father, Kenny, who was electrocuted while working for the power company. 75,000 volts, nearly killed him. And damaged his hands tremendously to the point where an arm had to be amputated. Here's the 2-1. And high and tight. Josh was just a year old at the time. He says his dad is responsible for him getting to the big leagues. He became his coach, his instructor, although his mom, Cheryl, did all the pitching. She was the one that got in the backyard with the bucket of balls and did all the pitching. And together as a family, they worked on his batting technique. His father later coached a youth team that Josh played on. A 3-1. Hammered foul. As we saw the other night with the Benintendi family, when they all showed up in Seattle, you know, it takes an entire family to create a big league ball player.
Sure it does.
Andrews in left field today. Runner at first base and 1 out. And the 3-2 from Price. Popped it up. Benintendi there. In the sunshine here in LA. He'll put that away for the second out. Wednesday, August 31st is Lego Day at Fenway. With the purchase of a game ticket through this special offer, fans receive a limited edition Red Sox themed player made with Lego bricks. Tickets are limited. Go to redsox.com/Lego to get yours today. 2 down. Grandal, the batter, the catcher, hitting just .227, but with powers. Hit 16 home runs. And Hernandez still at first base. Red Sox ahead 1-0. He takes a strike. Ten home runs in his last 25 games for the Dodger catcher. He swings for the fences. Rob Segedin, the rookie left fielder, is on deck, hoping to get his first major league at bat in this inning. They just called him up today.
He's kind of a bat before glove type of player. He's here because he can swing it a little bit. Left field isn't his normal position. More of a first and third baseman.
Yeah, hit 21 home runs in the minors. That one overthrown. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's a classic situation where they say if you can hit, we'll find you a place to play.
Right hand hitter from New Jersey. Price really taking his time on the hill today. He usually does. That one whipped into left field for a base hit. Grandal is on. Hernandez up and into second and stopping there. So Segedin will get his first major league at bat with 2 men on and 2 men out.
The fielder, number 25, Rob Segedin.
Segedin was previously in the Yankees system for 6 years. He was acquired by the Dodgers in a trade in January. His first big league at bat right here. So 2 men aboard for the right hand hitting rookie. Drafted out of Tulane University. And then he played his college ball there and one summer on the Cape League for the Bourne Braves. Little dribbler toward third base. Holt will charge it and fire to get him. And Price is out of the inning. On a little tapper. So it is 1-0. The Red Sox with the lead here in LA. His banquet timeless moment. 50 years ago today, the Red Sox would come back to win 7-6 against the Tigers in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Carl Yastrzemski tied the game in the top of the ninth with a pinch hit 2-run homer, and the Red Sox went on to steal the win.
What was he doing not playing that day?
Red Sox ahead 1-0. And coming up to bat here in the third inning against McCarthy, who has found the backstop more often than the strike zone here. He has walked 2. Benintendi will test him here in the third as he takes a strike. Youngster hitting .222, no homers, no runs batted in. He's 2 for 9. He did single twice in his first major league start on Wednesday. Made his major league debut just 14 months after being drafted by the Red Sox. Number 7 overall. 2 minor league years, a .312 hitter with 20 home runs. And a guy who can run as well. The 1-1. 2-1.
He's hit in every level he's played at, and those were quick stops at those levels. I just want to see him be able to get comfortable here, get a few at-bats before he can really settle in and start playing the way everybody thinks he can play.
Into left field for a base hit. Looked very similar to his first major league hit the other night in Seattle.
Yeah. And that was a bullet right off of his shoe tops. This was just nicer. Ball elevated a little bit. He's got a nice opposite field swing. Ball's tailing down and away from him, so he just goes right with it. Watch his head and the angle of the bat. Ooh, that is picture perfect right there. Goodness. And you just blow that up and put it on your wall.
Yeah.
You know?
He's an outstanding all-around athlete, too. As Price gets in with an opportunity to bunt him over. Did not offer at that. He did appeal to the third base umpire, Chad Whitson, but he said no attempt. So it is ball 1. Price came into the season not much of a hitter. 2 for 37 in his major league career with 16 strikeouts. Tries to get it down, but it's popped up and a catch made by Turner. Third baseman with the grab for out number 1. And that was not a confident attempt.
I was about to say, you don't have to be a good hitter when you're an American League pitcher. You're occasionally going to have to go up to the plate, but you do need to be able to help yourself out by bunting guys over. And in this case, he did. He did everything pretty much right until the ball got to him. He squared around nice. He looked like he was using his legs, and then he just jabbed at the ball right when it got to him.
Should have let it go. It was up and out of the strike zone, too. Too high. Mookie Betts now. He walked and scored in the first inning. Stole second base for his 18th theft of the season. Mookie's had a good series. He's 5 for 9 with a home run. And there has been talk, John Farrell has been talking about it the last day or so, about moving Mookie down in the batting order. He's talked about batting him third, and you and I discussed it the other night. The possibility that he might do that. I thought it might go that way today with Pedroia in the number 4 spot.
Yeah, when you're talking about a few guys being out of the lineup, obviously the National League style game, you have Big Papi out of the lineup. This guy has, you know, the extra base hits he's got more than anybody.
Is 59. Runner goes. That's a strike. Here's the throw, the tag, it's safe. Benintendi has it stolen.
Stealing bases here, not on that guy right there. Grandal's an excellent catch and throw guy, but on the lanky, slow movement to the plate by McCarthy. Look at that. Leg kick, long stride. Benintendi just getting going right there.
We talked about his athletic ability. In high school, he scored over 1,750 points. And he could hit the 3, too. Don't challenge him. First career stolen base. That was nearly thrown to the backstop, that one right there.
Well, he's not a very big kid. You know he's not challenging the big trees down under. He's got a fire from outside.
5'10". About 180.
Sounds like an NBA shooting guard to me.
One and one on Mookie. Jackie Bradley on deck. Saturday, the Dodgers got a big boost from a rookie right-hander, Ross Stripling. Forced into the starting rotation from the minor leagues. He went 5 innings, shutting out the Red Sox in that stint. The 2-1 from McCarthy, and that one gets it. Boy, it is all over the place and rarely over the plate by Brandon McCarthy today, and that'll put runners at first and second. And we'll see if Mookie's okay. He gets drilled.
25, Jackie Bradley, 2.
I think you made the good point, Dave, is that the Red Sox really do care if he starts to figure out where the ball's going or not, because guys are getting hit. Have an 11-game road trip. The one guy that's been hot the entire trip now just gets drilled in the leg.
Now Betts will take his base. Got him on the thigh. Obviously hobbled. 2 on and 1 out for Jackie Bradley. Dave Roberts has to be concerned because McCarthy cannot find the plate. He can't find the batting circle at times.
And what a feeling of helplessness there for Dave Roberts. He can't help him. He's like, well, what are you doing out there? Looking over at Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, trying to figure out something.
So if you're Jackie Bradley, what are you thinking as you climb in? Don't dig in.
Go lightly.
Red Sox had 1-0, and that one around the plate for ball 1.
You know, Dave, it's funny though. The guys, they do. He's going to dig right in there. He's going to get there and act like McCarthy's going to figure it out, or he's going to look for a good pitch to hit. It's kind of the way the mentality of hitters are. They have to go in there and think, hey, this is going to turn around. He's going to throw me something I can smash.
Ball 2. Now McCarthy's a guy who's been around. This isn't just some kid up from the minor leagues. He's 32 years old. He's pitched for the White Sox, Texas, Oakland, Arizona, the Yankees, and now the Dodgers. Lifetime record of 57 and 67, an ERA over 4.
I asked A.J. Ellis, one of the catchers on this Dodger team, to tell me a little bit about him, and he looked at me and he goes, you know him, he's been around for 10 years. And I said, A.J., I think I've really only seen him pitch twice. A.J., one of the classiest guys you're ever going to bump into right there. Best friends, he and Kershaw.
Hanging out together. Kershaw with a herniated disc on the DL, and that one gets right by everybody on ball 4, so it's going to load up the bases. So he's already walked 3. He's uncorked several wild ones. He's hit a batter. Honeycutt can't do much. He is going to pay a mound visit here.
Dodger fans are getting a little restless too. There's another pitch right there, and that gets away from Grandal. It didn't really look like a cross-up. He just kind of got lazy over there and didn't catch it.
Let's see if the Red Sox can cash in. Xander Bogaerts trying to fight his way out of a slump, but he hit the ball pretty hard in the first inning. Out to deep left center in the air to drive in a run and pick up Mookie Betts.
For as bad as McCarthy has looked, really only Mookie Betts made him pay for his walk early on. The walk to stolen base, they got him over, they got him in, but nothing else.
Red Sox have also been running on him and Grandal here in the first few innings with 2 stolen bases. So no place to put him. Benintendi, Betts, and Bradley. So good speed on the bases for the Red Sox all the way around. Bogaerts drove in his 68th run of the season with that sacrifice in the first, and there are signs that he is beginning to get his swing back in good working order because he's hit safely in 3 in a row. He's had a chilly trip, but starting to get it going. And the first pitch is in there for strike 1.
We've talked a lot since we've been here at Dodger Stadium how the ball does not travel well here, but in the daytime a little bit better. But we've seen a couple balls hit pretty hard to the outfield that have gone nowhere.
Top half of the 3rd inning here at Dodger Stadium, and the 0-1 pitch cut on and missed. So Xander is in the hole, 0-2. Dustin Pedroia, the cleanup man today, on deck. David Ortiz played yesterday, not playing today, played first base yesterday. And the 0-2. Grounded foul.
David Ortiz was talking about the reason why he wanted on the field yesterday is because he didn't want 4 days off. He wanted to get in there and play a game. Obviously, he knows that doesn't want to have to be out there playing first base very often, but he didn't want that much time off.
Sox with a man at every base, and the 0-2. Bounding ball to short. Seager to Kendrick, got one on the first, and they turn to double play and get out of the inning. Bogart's still chilly, as it turns out, and the Red Sox fail to get a run despite all that.
It's the bottom of the third. The Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. I'm Garen Austin. Hello, everyone. In case you missed it earlier, Hanley Ramirez is out of the lineup. John Farrell said he came in today and his wrist was sore again. Farrell also said that David Ortiz woke up sore after playing first yesterday, but after extensive treatment, he is available to pinch hit. And Dustin Pedroia back in the lineup. Farrell said he's good to go, but guys, when Pedroia was asked how he's doing, he said, I'll let you know when the pain stops, guys.
All right. Garrett, great report, but Big Papi photobombed you big time right behind you.
You know, I was a little bit worried about that. I'm not going to lie. I know Hanley's back there, too. I was a little bit worried.
I thought you should have turned around and danced with him.
Yeah, well, it was all Big Papi there. McCarthy leading things off, the pitcher. He spent his childhood close to Dodger Stadium to watch Oral Hershiser pitch. Used to come all the time. He is a quick out,
47.
as he fans.
David. He had some pretty good moves, didn't he?
Yeah. At 40.
Yeah. There he goes.
So one man out. Howie Kendrick, the batter, 0 for 1 with a fly to left.
I could hear something shaking, and that's why I couldn't hear, because I heard the shaking. It was the thing.
He can shake. He was shaking. Kendrick with a lot of at-bats in his career against Price. He is 6 for 28 off him, so not a whole lot of fun. The 1-1. Little roller, fair ball out in front of the plate. Holiday has it. Good strong arm to get him. 2 up and 2 down. Corey Seager will be next. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings now. Play free daily using the promo code NESSON at DraftKings.com. So Brian Holiday, the new catcher, showing some mobility out from behind the plate. Two-way.
That ball barely trickled out in front of him. You've got to be able to get up and get it.
Seager's 0 for 1. He has grounded to short. 22-year-old rookie phenom with 19 home runs. Red Sox have already hit into 2 double plays. They have had chances to put a big-time hurt on McCarthy. Popped up. Here's Holiday again, and he can't make the play. In and out of the glove. Had a chance to end the inning right there.
Yeah, he had this one all the way too, and then it just hits off the fingers of his glove. It looks like he closes it a little quick.
So he will be charged with an error and allows Seager to continue the at-bat.
I was about to say it's the perfect way to have to face Seager. 2 outs, nobody on. Can go after him a little bit harder.
Waved at and missed, and he comes back and fans him and strikes out 2 in the inning and faces only 3 Dodgers. 1-0 Red Sox. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. In sunny Los Angeles, the Red Sox have the lead as they try and come home with a winning road trip. With a victory today, they will be 6-5 coming home. McCarthy's pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Not sure those stats tell the tale of how wild he has been.
No, Red Sox just haven't really been able to capitalize on those problems that he's had.
Pedroia to start the 4th inning, then Shaw and Brock Holtz, who's back in the lineup today at third base. Travis playing first base with Hanley Ramirez out. First at bat, Pedroia flied to left. He came in hitting .298 with a dozen home runs.
These are the kind of games where you don't capitalize on your bases loaded situations, all the wild pitches, the hit batsmen, the walks, and then later on in the game, it finds a way to come back and bite you.
I thought it was deadly yesterday. The Red Sox loaded the bases in the 1st inning and failed to score. They had that guy on the ropes.
And it was a guy that it could have been a knockout punch in that 1st inning if he scored about 3. It changed the way that game was played totally.
It wound up a very sleepy day offensively for the Red Sox. High fly ball into left field, driving back Seguin, still going back onto the track, has room to make the play. So Pedroia now 0 for 2. Time for a game break. Brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Here's Adam Pellerin. about that? A triple for number 3,000. Travis Shaw 0 for 1. He has flied out to left field.
He always stayed in phenomenal shape.
Of course, Ichiro had well over 4,000 hits between Japan and the United States. Won the MVP, batting titles, Gold Gloves, snagged by Kendrick. Nice spinning move and gets it there to Gonzalez. Travis Shaw retired, 2 up and 2 down. And back to Ichiro for just a moment. .314 career average, the newest member of the 3,000 hit club. Didn't make his major league debut with Seattle until the age of 27.
That season won the MVP and Rookie of the Year. I don't agree with a lot of people out there saying, well, he is the all-time hits king because of his hits here and in Japan. I don't agree with that. I think what he did was amazing.
What do you mean? Are you saying that those who are criticizing him are wrong?
No one's criticizing him. I think some people are saying he has more hits than anybody when you add everything up. They're trying to recognize him as the all-time hit king. I just disagree with that. There's a ton of those hits were in Japan.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're saying Pete Rose?
Yes, sir.
I get you. And the criticism is that people are calling him the all-time hit king, and Pete Rose is being ignored by a lot of folks. So that's been the controversy as Ichiro has gotten closer and closer to 3,000 hits here.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. I mean, obviously we know Pete Rose won't be recognized by the Hall of Fame, and that won't stand. But you can't take a guy, you know, it'd be like saying I'll count all my AAA hits then too. And if I had all my AAA hits and the big league hits, somehow that should add up to more than what Pete Rose did. It just doesn't. He was playing in another league in Japan.
Nonetheless, he's going to Cooperstown.
Absolutely. Tremendous player. And what he did do, the accomplishments, amazing.
Brock Holt will take a strike. He walked in the second inning. And I think this is still true every year since he became a major leaguer in the United States. Ichiro makes a trip in the offseason to Cooperstown and walks the halls there in Cooperstown. He loves baseball history. He loves American baseball history.
He'll be there.
That'll be ball 4. Second walk issue to Brock Holt. And McCarthy stays wild. He's already walked 4 men and hit a batter.
Remember the controversy when he came over when he was 27 years old and won the Rookie of the Year. A lot of people thought he's not a rookie. He's already been playing in big league baseball somewhere. But not here. He was a rookie here. And that's what it was.
Here's the catcher Holiday, hit into a double play. One of 2 the Red Sox have already bounced into today. Even though they lead it 1-0, they've had chances. Holiday again just claimed off the waiver wire on Friday from the Texas Rangers. He hit his first major league home run on the 22nd of August in 2013 against Minnesota. And just before he came up to bat, he told Torrey Hunter, tell the bullpen to wake up, something's coming their way. And he ripped a home run right over the bullpen. And Torrey Hunter swears that is a true story. That Holiday said, yep, wake him up. So he called that shot for his first major league home run. 2 down, the man on. Here's the 1-0. And that drops just a little low, according to Gary Cederstrom.
Brock faked a jump as if he was going to steal second base and then stop to come back. I think a lot of guys on this team for the Red Sox are thinking about the stolen base against McCarthy.
Well, Betts and Benintendi have already done it successfully so far. Not running here. The pitch will miss outside. A loss today for the Red Sox, and they would come home 3 games out because the Orioles have won again. Runner holding, and that is inside. He missed with that for ball 4. Back-to-back walks with 2 down.
Grandal in that situation, 3-0, just set up right down the middle. Said, come on, just hit the glove here. And he couldn't do it.
And he cut on the horn.
Look at Grandal. Come on, just right here, right down the middle. And that ball just sinks down and away, or down and into the hitter.
Let's see if they get that bullpen going. Benintendi has already singled and stolen a base. He's 1 for 1 today. Red Sox up a run. High fly down the left field line, slicing. Second in a long run. Can't get to it, but a foul ball. Went sliding up against that fence, but a foul.
This is a nice play by a guy who's not really known for his glove, making his major league debut here. Slides to try to make the play. I like it when guys do that up against the wall. I don't like it so much when guys will slide in the outfield to try to catch a ball instead of diving for it. That slide right there is designed so he doesn't go headlong right into a wall.
Brock Holt at second. Holiday at first. Benintendi looking for his first big league RBI, and he'll take one inside around the elbow. Andrew splitting time this season between High A Salem and Double A as well before joining the Red Sox. They're going to get Josh Fields going. The 1-1 breaking ball, golf toward right field. Reddick on the move, can't get it. That'll drop in. Here comes Brock Holt in to score. Red Sox have added another run. Throw comes into second. Holiday down to third, and the Red Sox are on top 2-0. Another baseball has to come on back into his locker because that's his first RBI.
Starting to see why they like this kid so much. He went to left field his first opportunity, drove the ball into left. Now this one looks like he got a breaking ball inner half here, and he just golfed it into right field. He's got a pretty swing, doesn't he?
He looks like he's going to be an all fields hitter too. You know, that foul line and that foul line.
Yeah, I think he just really sets up nicely. He's very quiet and then just drops the bat head through the zone.
So the Red Sox make him pay for another walk. 2 of the 5 walks have come in to score. Now David Price with 2 down. Popped up a bunt attempt in the 3rd inning to the third baseman Turner, made an easy play on it. Benintendi in this game, his first stolen base at the big league level and his first RBI, and he's 2 for 2. And here comes Roberts. The slow walk to get McCarthy, who frankly has been a disaster to this point. And he's taken the baseball away from him. Boy, that was ugly. Amazing it's only 2-0. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Kia. The Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. The Dodgers already going to the bullpen here in the 4th inning, and we'll have more in just a moment. Red Sox show presented by AAA. Dave Dombrowski talks about the Sox decisions at the trade deadline and a look back at Andrew Benintendi's Major League debut. That's tomorrow at 3 only on NESN. The kid already with 4 Major League hits. McCarthy knocked out. Throwing the baseball everywhere, very infrequently over home plate. He gives away to Josh Fields, the right-hander.
He was everywhere. That ball, you can't even describe some of these pitches that he threw. That was the best one of the bunch. Watch this. Now, do you give any credit to the fact that they kind of messed around with him? He was going to be the starter, then he wasn't going to be the starter. Rich Hill was going to be in there, and then they gave him the ball again. Does that mess with your head a little bit?
He's 32 years old. You know, he's a 10-year big league veteran. That made no sense.
Got to deal with that, right?
Yeah. So Fields coming on, made his Dodger debut with a scoreless inning Tuesday after they got him from Houston in a trade on Monday. This is his 4th Major League season. He has been a strikeout guy, facing David Price here with 2 down and 2 men on and another run in as the Sox have taken a 2-0 advantage. Mookie Betts would hit next if Price finds his way on. The count 2 balls 1 strike.
This Dodger team just really can't afford these type of outings. When your starter's not going to go deep, you're into that bullpen every night.
Fields with a 2-1, and he got a piece of it. A little dribbler up the first base line, but a foul ball.
People out here look at the Dodger team as a potential playoff ball club. They have had so many injuries. 26 guys have been on the DL for that team. That's the most ever on a National League team. Ever. And we're in early August.
12 pitchers. And when they got Rich Hill in the trade from Oakland, he was on the DL at that time.
Yeah. They even trade for guys that are hurt.
Rich unable to go today because of the blister problem. 2-2 coming, and swung on and missed. He strikes him out, but the Red Sox capitalize at least a little bit on the wildness and have now taken a 2-0 lead here in Los Angeles. And we showed you Big Papi kind of messing around with Garen Austin as she was going through her injury report. We all know David loves to have a good time. The serious side of Big Papi on display as he came up to pay his respects to the retiring Vin Scully. Wanted to make sure he said hello and posed for some pictures. Vin was obviously thrilled. Travis Shaw also came up to do the same thing because he used to hang around this ballpark when his dad was pitching for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Some wonderful pictures there.
A much bigger guy now than he was back then, that's for sure.
Just a tad. Here's Justin Turner. He is 0 for 1 with a ground ball to short.
Well, you got to sit down and do that nice interview with Vin. I got a chance to have a final picture with him in the booth as well.
High fly, well struck to left. Benintendi racing back, and that one gets out. It's a home run. He just snuck it out of here for number 20. And so the Dodgers are on the scoreboard as Price gives one back.
What a find Turner has been for this ball club. Pretty much off the scrap heap. Was always a utility type guy. Changed his swing. Was forced into action because they had so many injuries and he just blew up. Now he's a mainstay in that lineup.
20 homers, 65 runs batted in. They don't score much unless he does something.
Yeah.
Now Gonzalez, Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 1. He is lined to the center fielder. Gonzalez was part of that blockbuster 9-player trade in 2012 that sent Adrian Gonzalez to Los Angeles from Boston along with Carl Crawford, Josh Beckett and others. Hits that one into the alley. That's a gapper. All the way up against the fence. Gonzalez looking for second base. He trots in with a double. And a couple of big swings right away here in the 4th inning against Price.
Couple of pitches right away left out over the middle of the plate. That has been Price's problems when he does have them. He'll sail along with excellent command, pinpoint control, and then all of a sudden pitches like that. That's belt high to a good left-handed hitter.
So that'll bring up Hernandez, who took ball 4 in the 2nd inning. Just a .203 hitter, but with 5 home runs. A home run and a double. And now the Red Sox lead cut in half very quickly. That is ball 1.
Dodgers had to. They get on the board with one swing of the bat, and you look at the Red Sox, they had to work so hard to get the runs that they've got, and then one swing by that guy cuts the lead in half.
Dodgers a tough team to beat at home. They have the 2nd best home record in the National League, 34-21 here. He drops that in for a called strike. They've also been tough to beat in series rubber games. They're 11-4. Price making his 2nd career start against Los Angeles. He fires a 1-1. Downstairs to make it 2-1. Again, his 3rd start on this road trip. I haven't seen that very many times, where one guy gets 3 cracks at a win on a road trip.
Yeah, to make that many starts on one trip is ridiculous.
But he hasn't won one yet on this trip. Here comes the 2-1. Foul in the air out of play to the right. So to count 2-2. Reddick on deck, nobody out, and a runner at second base representing the tying run. It's Gonzalez. Red Sox have already knocked Brandon McCarthy, the starter, out of the ball game. Really, he knocked himself out with his inability to find home plate. He was wild his last time out against Colorado, too, with 5 walks in 3 innings.
It's like you talked about. He's been around way too long to have that kind of command issues.
Here's the 2-2 to Hernandez. And he blew him away at 94. Down he goes on strikes. A big first out for Price, given away this inning has started.
That's all Kike is up there trying to do. As you mentioned, he's about a 200 hitter, but he just wants to jump the yard. He's looking for something hard and just air it out. He didn't get that one.
So that brings up Reddick, 0 for 1 with a fly out to left. He has just one hit in 17 at bats since the trade from Oakland. So a former Red Sox at second base, another one in the batter's box. Ball 1. Reddick has never had a hit against Price, 0 for 7 lifetime. Grandal on deck. And again, Price extremely deliberate with a man on. Foul tipped right into the mid of Holiday. Not uncommon for him to take 28, 29 seconds in between pitches.
Gets so deliberate, and then even when you think he's about ready to throw the ball, when he gets up there on the mound, he takes even more time. Like right now, you figure, let's go.
The 1-1 on the way. Hard ground ball to the shortstop, going to third with the throw, and bobbled and dropped by Holton. Everybody's going to be safe. Gonzalez safe. He should have been out by 15 feet. So a mistake by the Red Sox, and the Dodgers have runners on the corners.
That's 2 big mistakes right there. There's a mistake on Gonzalez by trying to go to third base on this ball, and then Bogaerts just didn't really throw it hard to Brock Holt. You don't see Brock drop balls like that very often.
Now, usually at the big league level, a base running mistake will not be rewarded, but it was there.
Right. One mistake by Gonzalez, and then compounded by the mistake by Bogaerts, and kind of outweighed the first one.
Brings up Grandal, who singled in the second, 1 for 1, hitting just .230. He is a double play candidate as the Dodger catcher. He cuts right through it for strike 1. A home run and a double, and now an error here in the 4th inning. That opens up a door for Los Angeles. Red Sox still on top 2-1. Gonzalez at third base and Reddick at first. Only 1 away. There should be 2. 0-2 the count. It was a late arriving crowd here in Los Angeles. I think this is where that term was coined.
Because they never show up.
But they did get here eventually.
The old saying that they would show up in the 3rd and leave in the 8th.
Another beautiful sunny day here in Southern California. Red Sox trying to get out of town, taking 2 out of 3. Now the lead's in jeopardy. Here comes the 0-2. 95, but he missed with that. 1-2 on Grandal. Rob Seguin on deck, making his major league debut today. And Price with a 1-2 pitch to the number 7 hitter. Poke foul. Now the Olympic Games have just gotten underway. David Price never pitched in the Olympics, but he did pitch for the United States national team in the World University Games in Cuba. Made 8 starts for the USA, went 5-1 with an ERA of 0.20.
I'd say he was probably the ace of that staff.
No doubt. The 1-2 once again to Grandal. 2-2.
David Price would take a strikeout right here, but he really wants is a ground ball double play. Went up in the zone right there, to which I believe he'll try to go back downstairs now to try to get a ground ball to one of the middle infielders.
Adrian Gonzalez at third base and Josh Reddick at first base. And he spoils that one out of play to the right.
Again, Dave, missed location here. He doesn't want to be having this pitch up around the belt buckle. He wants that down around the ankles. That was a mistake that he got away with.
They shook off Holiday a couple of times, finally picked one out, and now the 2-2.
Slider.
And that missed badly. And now he's gone to 3-2 on Grandal.
Ted Grandal right where he wanted him, and then failed to execute the pitches. Couldn't throw the fastball where he wanted, and hung that slider badly.
So he's filled up the count. This Dodger crowd getting antsy for more runs. There goes Reddick, and it pitches high for ball 4, and he's loaded up the bases. So all filled up for Rob Seguin, who is 0 for 1 in his major league debut, and now comes Carl Willis. Hey, don't miss W.B. Mason Extra Innings Live right after the game. Adam Pellerin and Jim Rice will break it all down, and you'll hear from David Price and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason? It's a big conference, but no place to put the number 8 hitter. Seguin in 0 for 1. He is grounded out to the third baseman. You mentioned earlier that he went to Tulane University, but he missed most of his sophomore year at Tulane with Pars defect. It's a stress fracture of the lower vertebrae. Then another issue requiring labrum surgery, and had to do some bone shaving of both hips. So this guy's been through a lot to get to the big league level. He was hammering the ball in the minors before they brought him up at AAA, and he'll take outside ball 1, and that plate is moving around on Price.
Suddenly he has lost his location. We've talked many times about how slow Price gets when guys are on base.
A man at every base with 1 down. Ball 2. Jesse Chavez thrown in the bullpen for Los Angeles. Price in a jam. Red Sox still on top 2-1, but big time trouble for the lefty. Into center field, dead away. Bradley on his horse, racing back, turning around. It's off the wall. Gonzalez is in to score. Here comes Reddick in to score. The throw home will not get him. And the Dodgers have taken a lead, and that one almost got out of the ballpark. 3-2 Los Angeles. Seguin with his first major league hit, and he really made it count. A 2-run double.
That's where we were told that this kid could really swing the bat. They loved what he'd been doing. This is a bullet off the center field wall. Jackie Bradley Jr. got an excellent read and jump on this ball. It started to tail away from him, but it was fine because that's the way the ball bounced right back off the center field wall, back to him. See Jackie just on his horse, sees the ball come back off the wall, got it in as best he could. Not in time to get Reddick.
Van Slyke will pinch hit in a pitcher spot with runners at second and third. The infield coming in now for the Sox, and David Price has given back the lead. 2 doubles, a home run, and a walk in this inning. Still only 1 man out. And he deals down low for ball 1. I know Red Sox fans all through Red Sox Nation are frustrated by what they're watching right now because they have seen it before with David Price on what you expected to be a shutdown inning against this kind of a lineup, not an overwhelming lineup. And here he is on the verge of allowing a bunch of runs. Already 3 runs in this inning. And he's all over the place.
Has no command of any of his pitches right now. He's basically been reduced at this point to being kind of just a thrower. And you don't expect that from your #1 starter.
Clay Buchholz getting going in the pen.
He's a guy that's supposed to be able to turn the page on a bad inning.
They're going to go ahead and put him on intentionally. That is going to reload the bases for the Dodgers. Going to bring on a force at any base. Red Sox obviously looking for a double play to get out of this. But Kendrick is about to bat and become the 8th Dodger to swing here in the 4th inning. Price again running into a bad inning. That's what happened the other night in Seattle. He had 7 outstanding innings, but the 8th inning, it all fell apart on him. And he got knocked around.
Without the extra velocity on that fastball, when he starts to lose location and balls sail out over the middle of the plate, he gets hit hard and he doesn't have anything to put you away with.
Kendrick is 0 for 2 and just 6 for 29 lifetime against Price. He'll take ball 1.
And Price wanted that one.
The ace ticket pitching line. 3 1/3, 4 hits now, and 3 earned. And the 3 walks really jump out at you. 2 of those in this inning. 1-0 foul back by Kendrick, the veteran. Dodgers in front 3-2 and a man at every base. This has been a long inning for Price. 1-1. A comebacker. He's coming home with it. Got the out there on the first and a double play. So he escapes without any more damage, but he does give up 3 runs. And now the Dodgers are in front after 4, 3-2. By Plainridge Park Casino, Adam Pellerin and Jim Rice take a look back at some of A-Rod's best moments against the Red Sox. David Price down the steps, just gave up 3 runs. The Red Sox are trailing for the first time here today as we go to the 5th inning. Jesse Chavez becomes the 3rd Dodger pitcher already, and yet they have the lead. That makes no sense.
That's what we were talking about earlier, how hard it was for the Red Sox to kind of work at what they were trying to do to score runs. It was so hard getting there, and then it turns around so quickly on them, and now they're not even winning this game. did not capitalize on the opportunities they had early.
Mookie Betts has walked and scored after stealing a base. He's also been hit by a pitch. Mookie coming in top 5 in the major leagues in a bunch of categories. In hits, there's another one back to the backstop. That's become routine for the Dodgers today. Top 5 in the majors in hits, doubles, runs, and extra base hits. Leadoff man with 59 extra base hits. And he'll look at a ball.
The only guy with more is one of his teammates sitting in the dugout, Big Papi.
Occasionally sitting, sometimes dancing.
Yeah.
The 2-0 on the corner, according to Cedarstrom. Hasn't been all that consistent. Jackie Bradley on deck, and then Xander Bogaerts. And the 2-1. That'll miss. That's a perfect example. I mean, that pitch was actually closer to the plate than the previous one. It was called a strike. And Cedarstrom said no. The 3-1. Little dribbler to first base. Gonzalez has that. One man out in the Red Sox 5th inning. Stay tuned after the 3rd inning. After the 3rd out, I should say, of this half inning for the mid-5th studio show presented by GMC. Many Sox fans here on the West Coast. We've seen them every place we have gone. Anaheim, Seattle, Los Angeles. Big part of these crowds. Red Sox continue to be an exceptionally good road draw. Jackie is fly to center and taken ball 4. He is batting second for the 2nd time this season.
Red Sox with just 2 hits so far on the afternoon, but you have faith in this offense that they will put something together and come storming back.
Jackie's 6 for 37 on the road trip, trying to get started. And that is in there for strike 3. He will take a seat. He fans, and there are 2 gone. Right in front of Xander Bogaerts, who has driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. He's also hit into a double play. Red Sox have been doubled up twice. And the shadows are starting to move in here in Los Angeles. Fouled out of play. Over the last 30 games against National League teams, Xander Bogaerts is hitting .328. Let's see what he's done against Chavez in his career. 3-2, the Dodgers have the lead in the 5th. And that's downstairs for a ball. Chavez following Josh Fields. Came on in relief of Brandon McCarthy, their starter, who was only out there for 3 2/3. And he was walking the ballpark. He walked 5 men, and he hit another batter.
And the Dodgers continue to have action in their bullpen right now with the left-hander up.
This is one of the areas where Dave Roberts, the manager, has been given a lot of credit for doing a good job piecing together a game like this out of the bullpen to get a win. But he has a long way to go today. 1-2, foul tipped into the mitt, and down goes Bogaerts again. He has had a very rough trip. 3-2 Los Angeles. Much. Benintendi with a good day going here as he has 2 hits, but the Red Sox need some more. They're down 3-2 to the Dodgers as we bring in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Price back out there. We'll see if that 4th inning was just a bad inning for him. If he moves on from then.
We have seen him be able to settle back into a ball game after an inning like that. He's going to have to do that.
First man in here in the 5th is Seager. He has grounded to short, struck out. He is a National League phenom. Grew up in North Carolina, the Gatorade 2012 Player of the Year in North Carolina, and a first-team high school All-American. His oldest brother Kyle was a 3rd-round pick of the Seattle Mariners, and now their 3rd baseman. And the middle brother Justin, also drafted by the Mariners. And dad Jeff played college ball at Farley Dickinson in New Jersey. So baseball bloodlines for the Seagers. Justin Turner on deck, and then Adrian Gonzalez. Turner and Gonzalez were the ones who really got that rally going when they scored 3 runs last inning off Price. A home run by Turner, a gap double by Gonzalez.
Price in trouble again now. Seager with lightning quick hands.
The 3-1. Talking about the Seager brothers, and 2 of them right now in the majors and playing awfully well.
Yeah, impact type players.
And that's going to be inside for ball 4. So he has walked the leadoff man here in the 5th. Hey, bring your company to a Red Sox game this year and enjoy one of Fenway's special pregame spaces, accommodating as many as 200 guests. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/groups. So not a great start for Price here in the 5th inning. He walks the first man, and now a home run threat in Turner, who blasted a home run in the 4th inning. Fastball outside for ball 1. Turner hitting his 20th home run last inning. They sent 8 men to hit. They had 3 hits for extra bases.
Turner just went down and got this ball. Breaking ball. See that a lot out of Price when he misses with his breaking ball. It's the type of pitch that just sails to the middle of the plate into a right-handed hitter.
One-0 pitch. He waves right through that one. An 85-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch from Price.
Good change right there for Price. Just over 75 pitches now for David.
But he really labored last inning. Working with the new catcher Holiday. Well, they did work together in Detroit. Here comes the 1-1. On the infield, Bogaerts to charge that. They'll get it to Pedroia for 1, but not in time for the double play. So Turner will become the runner at first base with 1 out. Very gently hit on the infield.
First baseman Adrian
NESN is once again looking for the best backyard ballpark in New England. If you think your backyard is in a league of its own, upload a short video of your ballpark to NESN.com/ballparks. If you win, Jerry Remy will host a private party for your family and friends in your backyard. This contest is presented in part by Lighthouse Construction. One man out for Gonzalez, who is lined to center and doubled. He has come on in to score.
I bet you're going to have a tough time picking out the best backyard ballpark from all the entries.
There were some great ones last year. The winner was in Rye, New Hampshire. It was just terrific. Put so much effort into it. And more than a little expense.
Oh, yeah. Ballparks don't come cheaply, do they?
No, they don't. Turner at first base, and that'll be in there for a strike. 94 on the gun. To Adrian Gonzalez, former member of the Red Sox, still standing after that big trade we mentioned earlier in 2012. Josh Beckett has retired. Carl Crawford was part of that deal. He was let go by the Dodgers in June. Still owing him $35 million. Wow. Hammered foul.
Wasn't the same ball player, couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay on the field. Too many young players pressing in this organization.
He wasn't the same player that the Red Sox thought they were getting when he was traded from Tampa Bay. He was acquired from Tampa Bay with the big contract, I should say. Really not even close.
He was a fantastic player in Tampa Bay. Turf helped him a little.
And we never saw that guy. Red Sox fans never saw him. The organization didn't see him. Broadcasters didn't see him. Tonight, after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, we have more on A-Rod's decision to retire, plus a complete report from Patriots training camp. That's tonight after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. One man out. Price taking a long time on the hill, more than usual today, and he misses again. He walked the leadoff man in this inning after allowing 3 runs last inning. Gonzalez just 4 for 24 against him, but he stings that one into left field. That's going to be a fair ball. Benintendi has to dig it on the running track. Turner down to third. He'll stop there. Gonzalez doing a nice job going to the opposite field, and they're on first and third.
Yeah, a really nice piece of hitting here by Gonzalez, but you're almost coming right into his wheelhouse there. Gonzalez knows that's the only place that Price can go to try to get him out is down and away, so he's just kind of sitting all over that pitch. He knows he's probably not going to bust him inside. He's going to go away, and look at Gonzalez just waiting for a ball down and away, and just slices this thing into left field. Not a bad pitch, but it makes it a bad pitch when the hitter's looking for it.
Here's Kike Hernandez now walking a strikeout. Only one away. There goes Gonzalez, and now he stops and heads on back to first base. Would not expect to see him run. Right now the Red Sox have nobody warming in the bullpen. Last inning Price gave it up. A walk and a single in this inning.
It's not like he's pitching right now giving anybody any confidence that he's going to turn things around, and no one up. Hernandez squared to bunt last pitch.
Now John Farrell getting on the horn. And a 1-0, and that's in there for a called strike. He just doesn't look like he has it over these last couple of innings. That's obvious. And now the Red Sox will get someone beginning to warm up. It's going to be Clay Buchholz for the second time. Clay was throwing last inning. So it's Turner at third, Gonzalez at first. Price did get a double play ball right back to him with the bases loaded last inning. And misses for a ball. His command just isn't really there.
Not at all.
He started out in good shape. He got him 1-2-3 in the first, but second inning he allowed a walk and a single. Breezed through the third inning. Fourth inning, an entirely different story. The 2-1. He backed him away, and that missed badly. So now the count 3-1.
Just doesn't seem to have any pitch today that he can finish anybody off with.
Hernandez came in hitting .203. Price has already walked him once. And that one is in there for a strike.
Didn't see a call, did we?
No. 3-2.
It's telling everybody what the count is now. 3-2, but I don't see a strike call here from anyone. Look at Cedarstrom. Didn't do anything. Must have called the strike.
I guess he did. Now the count 3-2. High chopper. Bogaerts. Poor throw, and another run is in. Well, the Red Sox have been sloppy today. That'll make it 4-2. Nothing on that throw. He kind of popped it up. And another Red Sox mistake on the infield.
When you watch this play develop, you know, Bogey's probably only going to get one out wherever he decides to throw. So either take your time and make the strong throw into second, or go on to first base with it. Nobody's getting anything more than one out. Pulled Dustin way off the bag. He couldn't even make the play.
It's a fielder's choice in an E6. Red Sox have had errors on the left side of the infield by both the shortstop and the third baseman. Runners at first and second now for Reddick. And he hammers that one foul. He has flied out and hit into a fielder's choice, and there was an error committed on that play on a drop at third base by Brock Holt. When Gonzalez tried to move up on what should have been a base running mistake.
Also not a good throw from Bogaerts to Brock Holt. I think Brock would tell you 100 times out of 100 he should have caught it.
So it's Gonzalez at second. Hernandez reaches on the error. And a fly ball to center field right to Jackie Bradley. He is there to make the catch, and the runners stay put. So 2 down. In front of Yasmani Grandal, who has singled and taken ball 4.
Catcher, Yasmani Grandal.
So a 4-2 Dodger lead. And Grandal is yet to be retired, and he certainly is a power threat with the 16 homers. This will be the 6th batter in this inning that Price will face. He faced 8 men last inning. This is pitch number 92, and he misfires there for ball 1. Red Sox will not play on Monday as Avilan is now throwing in their bullpen again. They will play Tuesday back at Fenway against the Yankees. Tried to check, and he did, according to first base ump Cooper, and it counts 2-0. Price regularly falling behind hitters.
All of them. And when he gets ahead, then he'll fall back behind too. We've seen him get ahead in counts and then end up with 3-2 counts. Seen way too many 3-ball counts. Does not have a put away pitch today.
Here's the 2-0. Waved at and missed. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. The velocity's been fine. He certainly has not been a strikeout machine today, with only 3 Ks in the book. Maybe his 3rd start on the road trip. Sox were hoping for a big and long outing out of him today. He may only go 5 innings. He's up to 94 pitches. And a 2-1. Foul back to even up the count.
Grandal a little disappointed with himself. He just had 2 pretty good pitches to swing at. Missed them both. Now he's at a 2-2 count.
Price is just out of sorts. You see him turn his back and kind of poke at the mound with his foot. Now Holiday comes out. You see a lot of very dramatic deep breaths. And he always does some of that, but it seems like a lot more today.
Seems like signs of a guy who's not really sure what's going on out there to him.
Here comes his 96th pitch and the 2-2. Missed inside, did not get the call there from Cedarstrom.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good pitch right there. Sneaks it, fastball inner half. Oh, when you're going bad, you're not going to get that call, I guess. Have to have that call.
Borderline. First and second. Runners will be off to the races. The 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. And he has reloaded the bases. So more big-time trouble for Price. He's walked 2 men in this inning. There was a key error by Xander Bogaerts. Now they are all filled up for Rob Segedin. And he came up in this situation last inning, and he crushed a 2-run double against the center field fence.
The pitching that we've seen so far in this game is like an A-ball game.
Segedin in his major league debut has a 2-run double. He'll take ball 1. He showed very good power at AAA Oklahoma City when they brought him up. 21 homers and 69 runs batted in. Dodgers have them all filled up. They lead it 4-2. Here in the last half of the 5th at Dodger Stadium, and the 1-0 pitch from Price. 2-0. Once again, he falls behind. Takes a long walk now behind the pitcher's mound. Clay Buchholz by now would be ready, you would think.
Oh, yes. Clay's done a pretty good job out of the pen.
He's been sharp in his recent outings. He's going to pitch in this game.
Yes, he will. Soon.
The 2-0. Base hit into right field. Gonzalez is in. Hernandez coming in. Here's the throw down to third, and they get him. They'll cut down Grandal, and that will retire the side. But both of the runs come in to score, and the Dodgers have now taken a 6-2 lead. Red Sox kind of remaining on the field to see if both of those runs indeed did count before the putout at third base. The home plate umpire ruled they did. Gary Cedarstrom. And we'll see what they decide to do here if there's any kind of an appeal. Umpires are calling those runs good to home plate. And so we'll take the break as well. Now 6-2 Los Angeles. the fun with Irving Oil's $5 million giveaway. 3 ways to play. You could drive away with a Ford Escape, $5,000 in cash, or the grand prize of $100,000. Get your game ticket at Irving Oil today. Rob Seguin has come up from the minor leagues to drive in 4 runs today against David Price.
Pretty good day for the rookie against the guy who should be getting him out.
And so now the Dodgers have taken a 6-2 lead over the Red Sox here on getaway day for Boston. And a rubber game of the series. Dustin Pedroia 0 for 2. He has flied out twice, and it'll be Travis Shaw and then Brock Holt. Red Sox have been sloppy too. They've committed 3 errors. And they pitched poorly. You would think the day is done for Mr. Price, wouldn't you?
Yes. David Price has been very upfront about being disappointed in the results that he has given Red Sox fans so far this season. There's no question that everybody expected a little bit more than what we're seeing.
The 3-0 pitch is in there for a called strike. I would say I would go many steps further than that. I would say a lot more was expected.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about one of the premier pitchers in the game in his history.
Swing and a miss by Pedroia. You know, the kind of season that Rick Porcello is having right now, I thought that would be David Price's year.
Yeah, in a different way too. I mean, I love what Porcello has done so far this season, but he's a grinder. I expected Price to bury people.
3-2 on the way, and pop foul out of play. Frankly, I don't think most fans care how you get there, but get there with those kind of numbers. Not talking about stylistically, they're very different pitchers stylistically. Yep. They always have been. But the bottom line is, a day like today, you know, your team's relying on you to go out there and pitch well against a Dodger team that frankly doesn't scare anybody, does not have a lot of powerhouse hitters in the lineup. You have an opportunity to go out there, pitch a great game, give your ball club a winning road trip, and actually come back having gained a half a game. And well, David Price is in all likelihood out of the game after 5 innings and 6 runs. Now, Red Sox did not play well behind him, and that wasn't his fault. 3-2 up the middle, but not hit sharply. Seager gathers that and guns on. Did he hang on? He did. Gonzalez kept the base with the foot. And so Pedroia is retired for the 3rd time today.
We continue to be impressed by this 6'4", 220-pound, 22-year-old shortstop.
Well, not a great throw, but he has a Gold Glove first baseman to hang on to the bag.
Got a lot of help over there. Petey down the line. The throw pulls him off the bag, but Gonzalez. One of the best.
So Chavez will be done. Roberts will go to his bullpen once again. With Travis Shaw on the way up. We'll take the break and be back with more in just a moment. 6-2 Dodgers. Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. The Red Sox are down 6-2 as we are in the top half of the 6th inning. Travis Shaw about to swing against Luis Avilan, who comes out of the bullpen for LA. 3.48 ERA, short innings, 10 1/3, but tough to hit. A 139 batting average against him. Travis on the day is flied to left and grounded to second. So the highlight of his day here at Dodger Stadium was certainly his visit to see Vin Scully.
So far.
If the Red Sox do not rally, they drop 2 out of 3 here to the Dodgers. After such a promising start in Game 1, the 9-0 victory. And I really don't know what you can say about David Price at this point, because if the Red Sox don't rally to get him off the hook, he's going to be 9-8, an ERA over 4.5. Swing and a miss, and I know that he has been, as you said, up front about his problems, but you know as well as I do, people are getting sick and tired of hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. They want results. They want results from a guy who came in here to give them that. And it hasn't happened. Not close.
The 1-1 pitch. Did he go? He did. He offered, according to the umpire at third, Whitson. Travis Shaw obviously disagrees, and a count 1-2. Abad still working in the bullpen. There's a little flare. That one's going to be popped into left field. It drops down for a base hit. So Travis Shaw is on, and he's now 1 for 3. Did you think we might see Clay Buchholz's last inning before the 2-run hit?
Yeah, I thought there was a chance. I mean, they didn't get him up. David Price was in trouble. As you see, Shaw just dumped this one to the left. There were guys on first and third, and still nobody was up in the bullpen. And we know that Clay needs a little bit more time.
Well, that was the second time he had warmed up, so he should have been ready to go with Grandal coming up. Seguin deposited his hit for a 2-run single and has now driven in 4. Aaron Hill, the batter, as he will pinch hit for Brock Holt. Six runs on 6 hits for the Dodgers, no errors. For the Red Sox, 2 runs on 3 hits and 3 errors. And a 1-0 will be in there for a called strike. Hill, since coming over to the Red Sox, hitting .218 with 1 home run, 4 runs batted in. The guy you thought would have the disastrous outing today was Brandon McCarthy, the Dodgers starter, as that one is stroked into left field down the line. Seguin has to give chase. It's up against the fence. Shaw into third. He's going to be waved in by Brian Butterfield. They overthrow the cutoff man, and he is in to score. Down to second base is Hill, and that'll make it 6-3.
Brian Butterfield being very aggressive as the third base coach down there. If they do not overthrow the cutoff man, I think Shaw's dead at home. They actually overthrew 2 cutoff men here. Generally like to be an aggressive team, but with the score the way it is, you got to be a little careful. Shaw's going to come around. Seguin gets this ball in, but look, 1 cutoff man, 2 cutoff men, it went past before it finally got in, and Shaw was easily scoring by then.
So the Red Sox get a little bit closer, and because of the overthrow, Hill picked up second base. Only 1 out. Holiday up there now. He's hit into a double play. He's also walked, and he rips that one down the line foul. And a fine play made by the ball attendant.
He did make a nice play. This ball's coming in hot. Whoa, look out.
Hill down to second base on an RBI double.
Yeah, if Seager gets that ball in his hands on a cutoff, I think Shaw's dead at home, don't you?
I think it's a really high chance he is. If the throw is on the money. So many things have to work on a play like that perfectly.
Maybe Butterfield looking for something to maybe spark this team a little bit. An aggressive play.
See if it does here. Holiday was hitting .238, 2 homers, 13 runs batted in when the Red Sox claimed him off the waiver wire, and he gets a piece. The good news is there's still time here. It's only the 6th inning. As poorly as the Red Sox have played today and pitched today, they're within 3 and only the 6th inning.
It's nice to be able to broadcast for a team that you know has that kind of strike back ability. Never going to be out of a game. They have the opportunity to come back and score big runs late in games. This is not a team that's going to roll over.
It's an important run to get in, a run at second base. To get to it in 2. Benintendi on deck. He has a perfect day going, 2 for 2. Now the left-hander will step off the back of the rubber. Dodgers ahead 6-3 in the 6th. And Avilan fires the 0-2. Swung on and missed. He got him. Picked up by Grandal. He'll throw to first for the K. Hill holding at second base. And there are 2 gone. And Benintendi looking for a 3-hit game, which would be the first in his major league career.
The fielder, Andrew Benintendi.
Today, his first big league stolen base and his first major league RBI. 2 for 2.
Getting those firsts out of the way. I think it's a good point you make about this run, picking up this run. You know, people talk about the difference between a 2- and 3-run lead. It's only 1 run, but too many good things have to happen in order for you to score 3 runs. All you have to do is get a guy on base in order to score 2, because you make 1 mistake and someone puts 1 into the seats. Now you tie the thing up.
And now Grandal heading back out. He and Avilan are having a lot of trouble getting together. Red Sox were hoping to get back in Boston at 5:30 on Monday morning. MLB.TV Premium is everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams in true high def on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Bryce Brentz has a bat. He's on deck.
You know it's a bad flight when your best hope is to land at 5:30 in the morning.
Well, given the slowdown, especially between these 2 guys, pitcher and catcher, we may not make it. 2 down, and a bounding ball fouled by Benintendi. Grew up in Cincinnati. You know, a big chunk of that city was watching when he made his major league debut the other night in Seattle. Great baseball town. He was a Reds fan. Hill leading away from second. Red Sox within 3, and he popped him up. That's going to drift foul back out of play. Timeout for a look at the road ahead, presented by People's United Bank. Red Sox coming home Monday, an off day, and then a series with the Yankees. A-Rod coming back to Fenway for the last time, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the Red Sox take to the road for a 4-city trip. 1 game in Cleveland. That's a makeup game from the opening series of the year. 0-2 to count on Benintendi. And the lefty's 0-2. When the Sox resume play on Tuesday night against the Yankees, there will be 52 games left, and 30 of those will be on the road. But 19 of them are against teams who currently have a winning record. Only 19 of those games. So lots of games left against clubs who are struggling.
That should help. I mean, we've talked a lot about how difficult the schedule is going to be. Playing subpar teams can keep you right in it.
Here's the 1-2. Line shot, base hit into right field, his third of the day. Here comes Hill around to score, and the Red Sox do indeed get that run in. That'll make it 6-4. Benintendi 3 for 3, and his second big league RBI. That just feels like an important run.
You're absolutely right about it. It's just so much harder to come up with 3. I mean, it's kind of the situation we're talking about right now. Bryce Brentz gets a hold of one. You're talking about a brand new game. Boy, that's I'm going to enjoy watching this kid swing the bat.
Dave Roberts has come out to talk with the home plate umpire Cedarstrom. He's going to make some changes.
Double switch.
Looks like he's going to bring Utley into the game, and he's going to go into his bullpen. So he's going to bring on Chase Utley, the veteran second baseman.
Kendrick's going to go to left field.
And Joe Blanton is coming on.
Sagadin's going to come out of the game as well.
So this will be their 4th reliever brought into the game, and it's only the top of the 6th. And the wheels are turning here at Dodger Stadium. The Red Sox have closed the gap to 6-4. More in a moment. Today here at Dodger Stadium with 2 RBIs. He has just put the Red Sox within 2. Blanton is the new pitcher. The stocky right-hander is used a lot. He's been very good at 268 earned run average. We talked about the other changes as Kendrick will move from second base out to left field, and Chase Utley is the new second baseman. And now they're all in a big overshift because David Ortiz is going to pinch hit for David Price's spot. With 2 down and a runner at first and 2 runs in.
Dodgers make a double switch, bring a new player into the game, a new pitcher. The Red Sox respond with Big Poppy.
And the first one to David will be inside for ball 1. 55 home runs in 251 interleague games. He is tied with the Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. for 5th most all time in interleague play. And Blanton's 1-0. He was out in front on the changeup. 1-1.
Some people may wonder about David Ortiz hitting now this early in the game in the 6th, but I think John Farrell says, hey, we got a little momentum. We scored a couple runs. We got them on their heels. A big blast right here would tie the game.
He takes a pitch outside and low. Anthony Ramirez also may be available for John Farrell to use today. 6-4 Dodgers. It's been a big day already for Benintendi, who leads at first base. Here comes the 2-1. That'll miss. 3-1 on David. Just the 6th inning. David Ortiz has never had a hit at Dodger Stadium.
That's unbelievable.
He is 0 for 6. David asking for time there. 3 balls, 1 strike. Let's see if Blant would go back to that changeup.
It's his most effective pitch.
Outside, and he walked him. And so the Red Sox have runners at first and second. And that means the tying runs are now on base. And the next man in will be Mookie Betts. Mookie on the day has walked, stolen a base, and scored a run. He's also been hit by a pitch. Their starter, Brandon McCarthy, was all over the place. He walked 5 men. He hit a man in 3 2/3. Several pitches he fired to the backstop were nowhere near home plate. And yet the Dodgers have a 2-run lead. But Betts up there with 23 homers. And he'll take a strike. Mookie has been driving the ball out here in the West Coast. 3 homers, 8 RBIs in 10 games. He rockets that one for a base hit into left. Benintendi is going to be waved in. Kendrick's throw will be cut. Now the fire to the plate and not in time. And Benintendi scores. And the Red Sox are down by 1. Kendrick does not have a strong arm. They cut the throw, requiring another throw. And Benintendi got in.
Once again, Butterfield being very aggressive. You know, with 2 outs, he's going this time. Pretty good speed. This ball's hit so hard it gets to Kendrick very quickly. He's throwing the ball before Benintendi gets to third base. But he's way offline. Turner had to cut it off and make the relay throw. It's hard to get a guy when you do that.
Well, this is turning into a crazy game. David Ortiz is now out of the contest, getting a huge hand. And look who is running for him. That's Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer at second base.
You can't really afford to use 2 of your players for 1 move, so you put Stephen Wright out there. You figure the next situation, they're going to tell him, you're just going to keep running. If it's a base hit, you're scoring.
Well, the batter will be Jackie Bradley Jr. The Red Sox are down just 1 now. He's gone 0 for 2 with a walk. The Red Sox indeed come back and win this game, and there is a long way to go, but if they do, the third base coach Brian Butterfield might be the MVP.
2 very aggressive plays to get this team going.
The 1-0. That'll be a called strike on Jackie Bradley. First and second with 2 away. The Red Sox come up off the deck. They have scored 3 times here in the 6th.
And you know Butter as well as I do. He wants to wave you in. He doesn't want to be stopping anybody. He loves to score.
1-1, a high pop up down the left field line. Third baseman Turner over to give it a look, but off into the stands.
He often talks about how important it is for him to know the mentality of the guys that are running the bases. He said, you know, some guys come around third a little tentative. They don't really want to score. They want it to be easy. Other guys want to score on every possible play. He has to know the differences between those guys.
Stephen Wright in his career has never scored a run.
He's not sure what he's thinking, that's for sure.
He gets the lead from second base. Mookie Betts just drove in his 74th run, leading at first. The play on, but no throw. And Stephen had to go diving back in there and lost the helmet.
Whose helmet is he wearing?
That's a great question.
He might have. Does he do a little face plant here? No, not too bad. Just the helmet came off, but that helmet doesn't look like it comes anywhere close to fitting him.
The 1-2. And that'll be in there for strike 3. It's been a tough trip for Jackie Bradley. Fans for the second time today not happy at all with that call from Cederstrom. But the Red Sox rally and are down by 1 in Los Angeles. Perks loyalty program. It's how Dunkin' Donuts shows big-time appreciation to loyal fans with great offers and perks, like a free beverage when you join and another on your birthday. Enroll today at ddperks.com or on the Dunkin' mobile app. Red Sox run on Dunkin'. John Farrell elects to go to the left-hander Fernando Abad, who went 2 scoreless innings on Thursday at Seattle with a hit and a walk. Took the loss in his Sox debut on Tuesday there in Seattle when he gave up the 3-run homer to Cano. The other change is Aaron Hill stays in the game to play third base. Red Sox have just scored 3 times. That's something the Dodgers did in both the 4th and the 5th innings to chase David Price. Now it's into the hands of the bullpen, and Chase Utley will bat for the first time. He came on as part of that double switch, hitting .251 with 7 homers.
Last couple innings are a pretty good example of how you can understand how people fall in love with the National League style of game. A lot of action, a lot of changes, double switches, people moving around. A little more strategy for the manager. It's more thinking going on, I guess.
Check swing, and that'll be inside. One of the surprises for me was that Dave Roberts took out Seguin, his left fielder, as part of that switch, who has driven in 4 runs today.
Just because of the double switch, you take out the last guy that hit so you can put your pitcher in that spot. But it's not that necessary, because by the time that guy comes around again, that pitcher's not going to be in the game anymore.
Right, and that's a hot bat.
Take out one of your weaker links.
The other thing I'm a little surprised at is that Clay Buchholz has not found his way into this game yet, because he's twice warmed up and has not been inserted in. That'll be down and away on Utley, who's now 37 years old. Signed as a free agent, had some outstanding years with the Phillies. Won 4 Silver Sluggers. Tazawa starting to move around out there.
I think you and I both assumed that Clay Buchholz would be in this game before the double switch, and Utley leading off the inning. Wanted to get lefty on lefty.
I thought there was a high chance that Clay would be used in the 5th inning against one of those right-hand hitters. But he stuck with Price. John Farrell did. Red Sox fell behind 6-2. Now it's 6-5. Utley grew up out here in Pasadena, California. He waves and misses, and down he goes for the strikeout. 1 man away.
The fielder, number 47, Howie Kendrick.
And now back up to the top of the order, and Howie Kendrick, who's gone 0 for 3. Arbella Insurance Foundation is the proud presenting sponsor of the WEEI NESN Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, dedicated to striking out cancer in kids. Arbella donates $50 for every strikeout by a Sox pitcher, up to $100,000. Arbella Insurance Foundation, here for the Jimmy Fund, here for good. Socked on the ground right to Bogaerts, who's had a challenging day, and he throws on to get him. 2 up and 2 down.
You know, Abad threw that hanging breaking ball to Cano in Seattle that ended up being a 3-run homer to put a loss on David Price up there. Since that time, he's been really good out of the pen.
He'll take on Corey Seager now. He's gone 0 for 2 with a walk, hitting .301, 19 homers. Sox will have due up in the 7th inning Bogaerts, Pedroia, and Shaw against the Dodger bullpen that has been used a lot already today. Red Sox are into their first reliever in Abad. Already 4 different relievers have been used by Dave Roberts, the Dodgers skipper.
Yesterday they got deep into their pen too because they knew that Stripling was not going to go real deep into the game. He ended up giving him 5 innings.
1-1 to Seager. He would not chase it. And the Red Sox come back home. It'll be Rick Porcello on the hill on Tuesday against the Yankees. Of course, he has not lost at Fenway. 2-1, big cut and a miss. Severino will go for the Yankees. Here's the 2-2. Ground ball to first base. Friendly bounce there for Shaw. And that's a good quick inning for Abad. Gets him 1-2-3. We're off to inning number 7. 6-5 Dodgers. Outdoors, Charlie heads up to Poland, Maine to hang out with comedian Bob Marley. Don't miss Charlie Moore Outdoors tomorrow night at 6:30 right here on NESN. 7th inning, 6-5 game. The Dodgers by 1. Xander Bogaerts overdue. He has driven in a run with a sac fly. His 68th run batted in, but he's hit into a double play and struck out as well. So he's now 9 for 45 on the road trip, looking to bust out and looking at a ball. So to count 1-1, Dustin Pedroia next, and then Travis Shaw. So it's the heart of the order today. Abad with a very quick inning. Tazawa throwing in the Sox bullpen right now. And the count 2-1.
This is the time to put it right back on. And to me, the mark of a good team is if you're getting beat, you get yourself back in the game, and you come back in and your pitcher gives you a shutdown inning, you got to go right back out there and get more.
The 2-1. Hammered foul. Tuesday at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud. Available at Men's Warehouse. TC and Jim Rice take a closer look at the Yankees rebuilding process. They have been doing that with all those trades. Mark Teixeira announcing that he'll be retiring as well.
When was the last time you saw a Yankee team start beefing up their farm system with prospects?
Here's the 2-2 from Blanton. He's filled it up. Had a lot of full counts today on both sides. Pedro Baez loosening in their bullpen. And the 3-2 to Xander. Cut on and missed. Down he goes. He strikes out for the second time today.
When you're getting out on your front foot and trying to pull a pitch and they throw a slider like this to you, you're too far out in front to reach it. It's not a good pitch. It's not a strike, but you've already committed. We're seeing Xander do that a lot more lately.
Pedroia is 0 for 3. Twice he has flied to left. He's also grounded to the shortstop. Sox took the early lead 2-0. They had that going to the bottom of the fourth inning.
Two guys on this Red Sox ball club use the axe handle bats. Pedroia is one of them. Mookie Betts the other. Nice play by the ball attendant down there.
Had those been around when you were swinging a bat at the big league level, would you have used it?
Yeah, I think so. I've messed around with it a little bit. It's very comfortable. I think it really alleviates the old hamate bone problems that guys had. I'm surprised more guys aren't using it. People are just starting to get used to it, I think.
The 1-1. Punch foul out of play. And we are seeing a lot more of those being used today in the majors. Ace Ticket, Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets, has the best seats at the lowest prices from bleachers to boxes. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Parts of the ballpark, that sun is still pretty vicious. Here comes the 1-2 to Pedroia, and he's taking.
There are times at Dodger Stadium and a lot of stadiums, even Fenway Park, if you're in the sun, you're very, very warm, and if you get into the shade, you can be really chilly. Not too chilly here today.
Sun is not a factor at all on the diamond any longer, as Pedroia gets a piece of it and hangs in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, bases empty. 6-5. LA has the lead in the 7th. The Orioles hammered the White Sox 10-2. But with a victory here today, the Red Sox can come back. They will pull into a second-place tie with Toronto. To the right side, right at Gonzalez. 2 up and 2 down. Travis Shaw next. Fans, time to vote for the Globies. Boston's biggest sports bash. The Boston Globe sports writers have nominated many of your favorite athletes and moments in several categories. Cast your vote now at theglobies.com. The Globies are presented by Mercedes-Benz. Travis on the day gone 1 for 3 with a base hit and a run, and here comes Roberts again, and he's going to go to the bullpen once again. So that'll do it for Blanton. Baez coming on, and we'll take the break as well as the Red Sox trail 6-5 here in Los Angeles in the 7th. Ballpark at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center First Aid Station at Fenway, located behind Section 12 on the lower concourse. Visit bidmc.org. So here comes the 5th relief pitcher to be used today by Dave Roberts. Baez coming out of their pen to take on Travis Shaw, who has gone 1 for 3 with a base hit. They use him frequently.
They're getting in there so often. And you know, I think it's still important to remember yesterday's game, how often they were in there. You can't keep doing that.
So 2 down here in the 7th inning. It certainly hasn't been a hit fest today, each side with only 6 hits.
Walks, full counts, hit batsmen, errors.
Now the Red Sox have made all the errors. They've committed 3. And Baez first offering. That'll be in there for strike 1.
We talk so much about flame-throwing relievers, the new trend in the game. These guys out of the bullpen for the Dodgers are some change-up throwing fools, aren't they? I mean, everybody's just flipping it up there.
Everybody's got one. The 0-1. High pop-up foul. That'll twist out of play. Heard you were working on some Dodger dogs earlier today.
Ooh. You know, they have a couple special dogs. Every time a new team comes in, they kind of tailor a dog just for that team. So there's a Boston dog in the stands for the 3-game set here.
Did you have one of those?
I did. Some baked beans, some bacon on it. Ooh.
We're going to sample some of that in just a bit. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. He was out in front, and down he goes, strike 3. So that's all for the Sox. They go 1-2-3, middle of the 7th, 6-5 Los Angeles.
There's no reason to waste any time. It's pretty good, but we're from Boston. We come all the way out here for a series. You got nothing for us? I got to eat a Dodger dog. That's all you got?
Oh, I got you covered. Don't you worry about that at all. You ready?
Yeah. Oh my God! What is that?
Beef hot dog. Just to make it taste better, we got to put loads of bacon on it, some Boston beans, and of course your favorite mustard.
Boston baked beans. There you go.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get in this one now.
Take it on.
I'm thinking the Dodger dog is gonna go away for a little bit. I'm getting into this one right here. Oh, this is messy. This is all over my soup.
That's right. Not bad, huh? Keep talking.
That is awesome right there.
I love him baiting you there. Keep talking. I didn't understand a word you said.
Me either. It's hard to make me speechless, too.
You know, sometimes when you do those bits, you say, oh, it tastes great. It's right, but just to make the guy feel better. How was it?
It was, especially the Boston dog was excellent.
It's really good.
With the beans and everything on it, it's an entire meal there. A little messy. You had to get in there with a knife and fork after a while because it was tough.
All of that is going to be on Dining Playbook. So I look forward to seeing the whole segment as Junichi Tazawa comes out of the bullpen. Appearance number 41. Trying to keep it right where it is at 6-5. The Dodgers in front as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's Justin Turner, who has cracked a home run, his 20th, back in the 4th. That was against David Price, who lasted 5 innings and gave up 6 runs, 6 hits, and walked 4 men. By the way, if the Red Sox do win the game, they will still be in 3rd place. The losses will be even with Toronto, but the Red Sox will not move into 2nd place. But a ways to go yet here in the 7th.
Really important here. Once again, another shutdown inning for the Red Sox. They're knocking on the door. They creeped up to within 1 run and then got stalled last inning. Try to figure out a way to get that offense going once again.
Turner, Gonzalez, and Hernandez. That is 3, 4, and 5 for the Dodgers here in the 7th. Here's the 1-1. The Red Sox need to win this game, a game that has seen Stephen Wright as a base runner in order to come home with a winning road trip.
Well,
in order to go 6-5.
With his kind of speed, why wouldn't you throw him out there?
2-1. Now 3 balls and a strike and a dangerous guy. David Price back out on that top step on the railing after a short outing. Right now he's still on the hook.
Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field running out to pick up something. I don't know what that is, a glove, a hat. Threw it back into the stands.
He used to come here and there'd be Vin Scully over the loudspeakers telling you, you know, what you could bring into the ballpark, what you couldn't. Please, fans, no beach balls. Please leave them at home so that no one has to chase them and delay the game. Here's the 3-1, and it's in there for a strike. My favorite Vin Scully line of all time was when Sandy Koufax was throwing a perfect game, and he had come so close like 4 years in a row and lost the perfect game late in the game. And he was here at Dodger Stadium and he was about to throw one, hadn't quite gotten there yet. 3-2 is popped up into right field, backing out Shaw and Pedroia. And Shaw will make the catch. And the great line was, because he had failed so many times to do it, Sandy was on the mound and Vin Scully said, and the mound at Dodger Stadium must be the loneliest place in the world. And it just, I mean, to this day when I hear that call, chills. Because it's perfect, absolutely perfect.
Then you have the line about another Koufax no-hitter. 29,000 people in the stands, but 1 million butterflies.
Yeah, yes, he did. And about 1 million butterflies. Just perfect. One man out. Here's Gonzalez. He has gone 2 for 3 with a double and a single.
You know, it's funny. We talked about the movie that I was in with Vin, and they didn't really have a script for us. If you go back and listen to his parts in that movie, he didn't write anything. We watched a game and ad-libbed as if we were doing a game. And the brilliance that he came up with for that movie is something to behold. As you said, the movie's not great, but if you go back and watch what he did in that movie, amazing.
What about you? What a performance.
It was fantastic.
There's talk of Oscar nominations, and
there was a little buzz.
All sorts of awards, none of which materialized. Here's the 1-1, and in for a called strike on Gonzalez. I don't imagine that film won any honors, did it?
No. Paycheck.
There you go. There you go. A 1-2 to Adrian Gonzalez. The base is empty and 1 down. And he buried that one. Red Sox were up 2-0. Then they were down 6-2. Now it's 6-5. And still a long way to go. And an up and down game for the Red Sox for sure, as they try and get back home with a winning trip. Here's the 2-2 to Gonzalez. And a high fly ball driven deep to right field. That one's going to sail on out of here, out into the pavilion. His 10th home run of the season, his 3rd hit of the day. It is also his 300th career home run.
Well, that was a no-doubter. Red Sox defense all around the infield was playing so deep because Gonzalez can't run. You don't have to run very fast when you hit him like this.
Yep, that's a swing, I think, befitting a 300th home run. That was a shot, makes it 7-5 Dodgers. As Hernandez has to duck underneath that one for ball 1. It's going to make it a little bit tougher on the Red Sox here in this comeback attempt. Tazawa gives up home run number 300 to Adrian Gonzalez, and a 1-0 pitch to Hernandez. That is a breaking ball strike. Both bullpens are quiet. Gonzalez has not been 3 for 4 today.
3 hits yesterday too. Yesterday didn't hit the ball hard at all. I would say that last shot right there was qualifying as hitting the ball pretty darn hard.
Yeah, he may be warming up here at just the right time for the Dodgers. They're in quite a battle with the Giants, just 2 games behind San Francisco in the NL West. 2-1. Another one driven deep to left field. He jumped on that. Benintendi back. She's gone. The Dodgers go back to back in the 7th. That makes it 8-5.
We talked about the reasons Hernandez is in the lineup. He's pretty much sitting dead red and looking to just blast balls, and he got that one. This is right out over the heart of the plate. That's all he's looking to do is slam pitches. Hitting right around 200 doesn't really matter. Just try to hit the ball out of the park.
So now a 3-run lead for the Dodgers. Here's a guy who could make it 3 in a row if Tazawa's not careful. Josh Reddick. And Clay Buchholz is up in the bullpen for the 3rd time in this game. He is yet to get in, despite warming up on multiple occasions. The 1-0 pitch and a strike.
And people would say, well, he's been up a couple times. He's got to be loose. But, you know, you sit down, and he has sat down now for about an inning and a half. So he should be able to get it going a little quicker. But it's not like you stay loose and ready after you sit down.
Now those home runs have brought this big crowd to life here in Los Angeles. Gonzalez and Hernandez. Reddick has scuffled since coming over from the Oakland A's. 1 for 19. Did get his first Dodger hit yesterday. Yasmani Grandal on deck. And Tazawa with the 1-2. Fouled away. That one right into the umpire, Cederstrom. Appears to be fine. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Didn't hurt you, did it?
Not at all. Nobody on base, but 2 big runs in Red Sox had worked very hard to cut the lead to 1, and now it's back to 3. 2-2.
Got to do something quickly. You know you're going to be facing Kenley Jansen late in the game in the 9th inning. He and his 33 saves.
Man, was he impressive yesterday.
He just comes in and blows you away. It's very much like Kimbrel. Doesn't throw as hard.
Struck out 3 in a row to lock it up yesterday. Here's the 2-2. And a full count on Reddick. Only one away here in the 7th. Reddick became an all-star caliber player when the Red Sox sent him to Oakland, hitting for power, driving in runs, winning a Gold Glove. Now over in the National League, but he was traded into a pennant race. Here's the 3-2. He chased it down into the dirt and he strikes out, and there are 2 gone. Got him to go for the split. Tuesday at 6:30. Don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. TC and Jim Rice will preview the Red Sox next series against the Yankees beginning on Tuesday. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? And with 2 down, that'll send up Grandal, the catcher, who has not been retired in this game. A single and 2 walks. And the first pitch will be in there for strike 1 on Grandal. Kansas City beat Toronto today 7-1. So the Blue Jays have lost 2 in a row. They have fallen out of that first place tie with Baltimore. The Orioles won again 10-2.
Are those different games, or do you just keep saying the same score every night we talk about Baltimore?
Feels like it, doesn't it? Here comes the 1-1 from the right-hander from Japan. And believe me, and you know this is true, players notice that too. I was talking to Rick Porcello earlier today over at the hotel about Baltimore and the race and all of that, and I think they marvel as well as we do that the Orioles just don't seem to lose very much. Two on the way, although factually before today they had lost 6 out of their last 10.
Yeah. And you know, when you're chasing a team, it seems like they're always winning. But when you look at the standings and you see the Red Sox are only 2.5 games behind what the Orioles have done, then you know that we're doing pretty darn close to the same thing. And the Orioles are saying, man, that team will not go away.
The 3-1. And he walks him. So Grandal is on. Tazawa 2 home runs and a ball 4 in this inning.
Well, you kind of know right away whether or not Tazawa has his good stuff or not. Clearly tonight is not one of those days.
He will get the pitcher now. Baez will have to hit for himself. With a runner at first base and 2 down. Come the 8th inning, the Red Sox have due up Hill, Holiday, and Benintendi. Benintendi has 3 hits. A 3-for-3 day, which is now turned into evening here in Los Angeles. Red Sox will be eager to get back to the East Coast and the Eastern Time Zone. And will settle in for 6 games on the upcoming homestand beginning on Tuesday. As the Yankees come in, Alex Rodriguez last 3 games at Fenway Park. The 1-0 pitch. So now 2-0, and Holiday wants to deliver it himself. Let's take a closer look at Tuesday's pitching matchup. Talking about Rick Porcello and the outstanding year he's having At 14-3, he has not lost at Fenway Park, coming off 8 strong innings and only 4 hits. And 3 of them were out of the ballpark, solo home runs in that start against Seattle. High pop into left field. Benintendi closing on that. Plenty of time to get there and makes the catch to retire the side. But Tazawa gives up back-to-back home runs. And the Dodger lead expands to 8-5. Xfinity, a short outing for Price, just 5 innings. 3 of those runs against him were earned, but they put up 6 while he was in the game. Benintendi is 3 for 3. McCarthy went 3 2/3 as the starter for the Dodgers. He was not very good with 5 walks and a hit batsman. Gonzalez has homered for the 300th time in his career. Seguin, making his major league debut, went 2 for 3 with a double, drove in 4 runs. And then Dave Roberts took him out of the game.
Part of that double switch. Didn't really hurt him too bad. They're still leading 8-5.
Yeah, just moments ago, back-to-back home runs by Gonzalez and Hernandez for the Dodgers to get that lead back up to 3. Baez remaining in the game to pitch to Hill, Holiday, and Benintendi. Red Sox trying to rally again. Hill doubled in a run in the 6th inning in his only plate appearance today, hitting .232 with 1 home run. So it is on to the 8th inning. And Baez ready, the stocky right-hander's first one. That is in there for a called strike at 97 miles an hour. You know, in the American League, out of the 5 clubs who qualified for postseason play last year, 4 of them won 93 games or less. So the question to you is, can this Red Sox team win 32 or 33 the rest of the way? As mentioned, there are going to be 52 games left when the Sox go back to Fenway on Tuesday to start the series with the Yankees. Can they get in that range, somewhere from 89, 90, 91, 92 victories? High fly into right field. Easy play, routine play for Reddick. And he's there to make the catch. Time now for the Geico Red Sox moment, honoring the 1986 Red Sox season. In game number 110, the Red Sox lost to the Tigers 5-0. Oil Can Boyd took the defeat, although he went all the way.
You know, judging from what you're talking about last year with the number of wins it took to get into the playoffs last year, you'd have to feel it's going to be similar this season. That means that the Red Sox would have to then play at least 10 games over 500 the rest of the way.
Here's Holiday. He has walked, struck out, and hit into a double play. Getting his first start for his new team. And he grounds that one right to Seager. He vacuums it up and gets him. 2 up and 2 down in the Red Sox 8th. Speedway is proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience. And for every Red Sox home run this season, Speedway will donate to Boston Children's Hospital. All summer long, stop at Speedway and get any size fountain or frozen drink for just 69 cents. Benintendi 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a stolen base, and he has scored a run. So 5 for 12 as a major leaguer. 2 up, 2 down for the Sox in the 8th. And Baez with the 0-1. And a fly ball into center. Not deep. Hernandez right there. And that will retire the side. Red Sox go fast. For the second inning in a row. 1, 2, 3. We're in the middle of the 8th. 8-5 Los Angeles. Time to keep it moving moment brought to you by Old Dominion.
Well, this is all about the home runs here that are really killing the Red Sox. Kiki Hernandez, we talked about him just trying to go deep, and of course Adrian Gonzalez, no matter where you slice it, he's had a tremendous career in his 300th career homer.
Old Dominion Household Services, self-moving services that deliver, and along with those 300 home runs, 400 doubles for Gonzalez.
Now, we've talked a lot about it during this series. He did not work out well in Boston, but that first season in Boston was pretty impressive.
And 213 hits. Clay Buchholz will finally make it into the ball game. Clay has warmed up on 3 occasions and now in for the 8th inning against Chase Utley. It is 8-5 the Dodgers. Now, the Red Sox do not rally come the 9th inning. They will come home 5-6 on this road trip and will be 3 games behind in the American League East. Utley hitting .251 with 7 home runs. And he eyes a strike. Utley went to college here. He went to UCLA.
Yeah.
Grew up in Southern California. The Dodgers actually drafted him in 1997 out of high school, out of Long Beach Poly High, which also produced Tony Gwynn. Comebacker, a little topper here for Clay Buchholz, and he throws him out. So 1 up, 1 down in the Dodger eighth in front of Howie Kendrick.
Kind of surprised that they re-signed Utley, but he is really the guy on this team that kind of sets the example for everybody else.
Oh, here's another one. Howie Kendrick gets a lot of points for his leadership. Well, both of his parents were Army staff sergeants, so that makes sense. He's 0 for 4 today. He has flied to left, tapped out in front of the plate, was thrown out by the catcher, hit into a double play and grounded to short. Kenley Jansen, their closer, now loosens in the pen. He was sensational here yesterday in locking down a 3-0 Dodger win. Red Sox had no shot against him as he struck out the side. Two and 1.
Dave Jansen's style of pitching is probably closer to Mariano Rivera than anybody in the big leagues today, and that's high praise. But it's cutter after cutter after cutter from Jansen, and it works well for him.
2-1 slap foul the other way. In some ways, he reminds me a little bit of Lee Smith, too. Big hulking guy.
Physically, you know.
Physically, he does.
Former catcher.
Buchholz home with a 2-2 to Howie Kendrick. And he ran it up and in. He did not offer. They did appeal to the first base on Cooper, but he said no swing, so the count's 3-2.
Looks like he's trying to get out of the way more than he is trying to swing at it.
Line shot and a base hit into center field. So Kendrick is on for the first time in this one. CVS Health is a proud supporter of Stand Up to Cancer. We invite you to share your hashtag reasons to stand up by posting a photo or video of why you stand up to cancer and tag @CVS in action. Talking about Lee Smith, had the biggest hands I've ever seen on a human being, and shook hands with him once. He shook my elbow.
Engulfed everything.
Unbelievable. Baseball just disappeared in his hand. Here's Seager. He's 0 for 3 with a walk and taking a strike.
You look at different pitchers and how they're successful, and you look at a guy like Smith and you can certainly understand why. Just enormous. Dick Raddatz, huge hands.
Play with the 0-1 pitch. And a high fly to center field right at Jackie Bradley to put that one away, and there are 2 down.
Third baseman number 10, Justin Turner.
Justin Turner will be next. He belted a home run back in the 4th inning. Dodgers got back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning. Very damaging off of Tazawa. Gonzalez and Hernandez within moments of each other. And that made what was a 6-5 game 8-5.
Neither one of them were questionable at all. Bombs.
2 down for Turner as he'll look at ball 1. Sox heading home on Tuesday night against the Yankees. Rick Porcello on the hill. Wednesday it'll be Drew Pomeranz, and on Thursday it'll be Stephen Wright. All 7 o'clock first pitches, 7:10. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Turner. He hammers a foul. He's a Southern California guy too. He's from Long Beach. You have to assume there was a surfboard somewhere in that house. One ball and one strike, and 2 down, a man on. Hot shot, backhanded by Bogaerts to Pedroia for the force to retire the side. And for the Red Sox, last chance coming up. We go to the 9th, 8-5, Los Angeles. Three runs just to tie the ball game. 8-5. The Dodgers are on the verge of taking 2 out of 3 here. They're going to go to their closer, Big Kenley Jansen, who is an all-star this year and is one of the best in the business with a 131 earned run average. He set down the Red Sox 1-2-3 with 3 strikeouts. I believe it was 15 pitches to close out yesterday's game.
33 saves. A little surprising there, as you notice, he has blown 5 opportunities.
Hernandez moving over to left field. We showed you Peterson in center field. And Hanley Ramirez has a bat, and he'll hit in the 9 spot. And the security guards are going after somebody who's up on top of the short fence down the right field line. He was doing some cheerleading, so that'll be the reason for the delay here. 8 runs on 9 hits for Los Angeles, 5 runs, 6 hits, and 3 errors for the Red Sox. It has been one of the sloppiest Red Sox defensive efforts in some time. Chance to wait for the security to do their work and take that fan away. Again, if the Red Sox fall in this one, they lose 2 out of 3. They will also come home with a losing road trip. They'll be 5-6 coming home from this West Coast swing, and they will drop 3 games off the pace being set by the Orioles. And when the Red Sox began this trip, they were 2.5 games behind Baltimore.
We knew it was going to be a difficult trip out west, but you certainly hope for better results than what we've seen.
I think the Red Sox were hopeful when they looked at the starting pitching they were facing. Generally speaking, throughout. I mean, today they were facing Brandon McCarthy, and he couldn't throw the ball into the ocean. And yet they're on the short end right now. And I think of guys like Jared Weaver throwing 84.
Rod Stripling yesterday.
Stripling yesterday, only going 5 innings, and yet he got the win.
Lincecum.
Yeah, Tim Lincecum was just dreadful. That's in there for a strike on Ramirez. They beat him, but that lineup of starters the Red Sox were facing was not daunting on this trip. And they missed a couple aces along the way, like King Felix and Clayton Kershaw.
It's Santiago who couldn't throw the ball over the plate.
That's
the
right.
list goes on.
Yep. So there were opportunities here, and the Red Sox certainly gave away a couple of games. When you think about the game in Anaheim where Price pitched so well, and it was Hanley Ramirez throwing the ball away, that 2-run error in the 9th inning, and the Red Sox went from ahead 1-0 to a heartbreaking 2-1 loss. They bounced back after that, played better. Swing and a miss, and down goes Hanley. He strikes out, 1 away in the 9th inning. And the game in Seattle the other night when the Red Sox led 4-0 going to the 8th inning and lost 5-4. That one just evaporated. So they had a chance to have a winning road trip and still have a chance in this game, but a loss here, and they're 5-6. Mookie Betts has been on base 3 times. Mookie has had a very good road swing. He has a 9-game hitting streak. Got another hit, an RBI single in the 6th inning in this game. Been hit by a pitch, and he's walked and stolen a base. He looks at a strike. If the Red Sox do lose, they will be 60-50 heading back to Fenway. And the 0-1. Foul tip to the mitt. 0-2.
See the late action on the pitches from Jansen.
Jansen's trying to strike out the first 5 Red Sox he will have faced this season. That's exactly what happens. He's pretty much automatic. 2 down.
He lives up in the strike zone. He gets the movement on the ball. Guys can't get their hands on top of the pitch, and he just blows guys away. Even though he's not throwing 98, it's usually 93 to 95.
Well, here's a guy who needs to get home. Jackie Bradley. 0 for 3 in this one with 2 strikeouts. He's had a long road trip. He is 6 for 39. And he takes a strike. He has not been alone. Red Sox did not swing the bats out here on the West Coast.
Excellent pitching for the most part. No offense. That will frustrate any manager.
Here's the 0-1. Nobody on base, 2 down in the 9th inning, 8-5 Los Angeles. This game got away from the Red Sox in the middle innings as Bradley pops that one up, but that will keep on going out of play. They scored 3 times in the 4th, 3 times in the 5th, and 2 more in the 7th. Red Sox had cut it to 1, but Tazawa gave up back-to-back home runs. Kenley Jansen trying to strike out the side for the 2nd day in a row against the Red Sox in the 9th inning. The 1-2. He spoiled that one.
Kenley doesn't throw much else. He once said, I'm going to throw my fastball, and if I get ahead in the count, I'll probably throw my fastball, and if I get in a little bit of trouble, you're going to see my fastball. The old number 1 up.
The 1-2 to Jackie Bradley, and in there for strike 3, and that'll do it. He does it for the 2nd day in a row, striking out the side in the 9th. And the Red Sox fall 8-5. They lose 2 out of 3 at Dodger Stadium. And they come home 5-6 on the West Coast trip and are now 3 games behind the Baltimore Orioles.